prettiest grounds that we play at. I love the outlook to the mountains. The pitch is always yeah. Yeah. It's always the first choice, I think. Yeah. It's a little less forgiving, isn't it? Another good pitch was Edgeworth. Fitting with Maitland and Tuesday. Yeah. Yeah, well, I got here when the 17s were playing and I had to park down the paddock over the hill.
both games.
I think you should take the lead role, Tara.
I should take the
Yeah, you take the lead role.
That's all right. Let's sit here and look good. I've literally parked like over here. People go to the customer place. I meant to leave at half past. Someone's taken that message. Amy missed me. There's no time. So I couldn't park down the hill. I was in out of one out of the ground. Where he had the rest of my last. Like, including Black Carl and just like taking someone from behind and 94 minutes and all.
Finals football does not get much bigger than this. Hello and welcome to Cook Square Park for this massive Northern New South Wales Women's NPL prelim final between Maitland FC and Newcastle Olympic. A place in next weekend's grand final against the Azzurri is on the line. For Maitland, it would be their first ever appearance on the big stage, while Olympic are chasing their 5th grand final berth and looking to add a 2nd championship after their 2020 triumph. Maitland have had the edge across the regular season, winning all 3 clashes with Olympic, but finals football is a very different beast. Joe Wright's Magpies were pushed to the brink last week, taking Azzurri all the way to penalties in a heart-stopping qualifier. He's challenged his side to be more clinical in front of goal after going scoreless in their last 2 matches across 90 minutes. On the other side, Craig Atkins knows this could be his farewell finals campaign with Olympic as he looks to move to New Lambton in 2026. His side took out the elimination final in style with 4 different goal scorers finding the net, showing just how much depth they've got across the park, and he'll be relying on that balance and their experience in big game situations to get the job done today. I'm Chris McPherson, and alongside me is former Matilda Newcastle Jet striker and 2025 Northern New South Wales NPL Golden Boot winner Tara Andrews. Tara, with Maitland holding that 3-0 season record, but Olympic building real momentum, what are you looking for to be the difference in this one?
Yeah, look, I think for Olympic, the difference today is going to be how clinical they are in front of goal. Last week, you know, obviously they beat New Lambton in the final and they scored 5 goals. So I think today it's about being clinical in the final third, making sure they take their shots, and then obviously defensively they're quite solid anyway. So trying to stop this Maitland attack will also be key.
Certainly is going to be interesting. We know we'll have a look at the squads in a moment. A few players carrying a couple of niggles. Matty Howard on the bench for Newcastle Olympic, carrying a knee injury. We saw Sophie Stableford during the week wandering around in a moon boot. Health and fitness could be an interesting question as well. Let's take a look at how the two teams do line up. We'll start with Olympic. They finished on the ladder in 4th place. I'll get there eventually. They'll have Janali Haynes in jersey 41 in goal. Number 4 is Danielle Nickel. 5, Georgia Hogg. 6, Laura Hall. 7, Elodie Dagg. 8, Jess Evans. 9, Kira Bainsfair. 10, Sophie Walmsley. 11, Sophie McDonald. 16, Sarah King. And in jersey 30, in just her third start, Ava McGann, who scored last week in that elimination final. Sorry to keep bringing it up, Tara. Up against Maitland. Maitland, the home side here, looking for that first grand final berth. In goals, the reigning goalkeeper of the year for Northern New South Wales NPL Women's, Annabella Thornton. Charlie O'Connor in jersey 2. Keely Gawthrop in jersey 4. Lana Kearney will be out wide in number 7. The heart of their midfield, Sophie Nanatovic in jersey 8. Josie Morley in jersey 10. What a story she has been this season coming back from that ACL. We also have Sophie Stapleford, as I touched on, in a moon boot. I don't know whether it's for decoration or it was a fancy dress. Depends who you listen to out of the Maitland camp. They're keeping their cards close to their chest in jersey 11. Willow Neal down the flank in jersey 15. Talia Gosner at the heart of their defence in 18. Georgia Amos will be on that other wing. Lightning fast down the sides is Georgia in 23. And, of course, the South African international. She's on the ball. She's going to get us started. Number 35 is Mary Enswang. And we're underway here at Cook Square Park for what promises to be an enthralling, nail-biting and not look away prelim final. A grand final ticket on the line for the winner today. For the loser, their season will be over. And we'll have 90 minutes, maybe a little more to decide it. We've had penalty shootouts already and plenty to look at across this weekend. If you're just tuning in on the Northern New South Wales Football YouTube channel, only minutes ago, as we see Ava McGann pushing forward. And that one's broken up. Nanatovic takes it away. Only minutes ago, about half an hour ago, Lantern Jaffers booked their grand final ticket. They'll take on the Broadmeadow Magic in the men's NPL. That was an enthralling clash that went down to the final minutes against Western at Rockwell Automation Park. I had the pleasure of being there for the call on that one. And now here at Cook Square for the last of the opportunities to book a grand final ticket in NPL football in Northern New South Wales for 2025. Sophie Stapleford on the ball. Crosses it into the box, headed forward, not completely cleared by Evans. Nanatovic thinks about pushing hard at it. The side's better of it. She tracks back and takes it now. Tara, when you come into games like this, and we touched on it in the lead-up, Maitland have won all 3 of these clashes during the regular season. How much does that mental side of things play? And is it a situation of, if you're Maitland, you lean into it. If you're Olympic, you say, look, it's finals football. It's a new ball game. We won elimination football last week, and so we're here, and we're just going to go hard at it.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit about momentum as well coming into the finals. Obviously, Olympic have had a pretty good run coming into finals, so they're going to have a lot of confidence in this game, whereas, you know, Maitland have obviously lost their prelim final to try and make the grand final. So I think the pressure today's on Maitland because, you know, we're expecting them to probably win. So the pressure will be on them, but obviously for Olympic, nothing to hold back. Anything can happen in finals football.
It certainly can. It's all 90 minutes here to determine it. The referee just points to the advantage of Maitland there. Enswang up against Evans. They push forward here. Hogg prods that to the advantage of a teammate. Now Stapleford steps in. Nice little ball. Amos is overlapped into the middle. A little tug on the jersey was there. Referee says play on. You know, both these sides are going to leave absolutely everything out there. It's been interesting for Maitland. Unfamiliar for them. 180 minutes without a goal. Back-to-back games up against Charlestown Azuri, as we see some of the Azuri coaching staff just wandering past our position here, Tara, just coming in and getting a bit of intel on who they take on next week. It's good to see a nice healthy crowd in general actually here as the shadows start to creep across Cook Square Park late on a Sunday afternoon.
That's right, the Charlestown team will be keeping a close eye on this game and obviously scoping out who their opposition might be and what sort of tactics they might use next week.
Certainly, and I've been tipped off by some of the Maitland crew that they've got a few of their cross-code compatriots here today and a lot tuning in from the Maitland Pickers. There's been a nice little developing bond between the Pickers and the Maitland FC girls, which is nice to see the cross-code relationship developing. And good to see them out supporting each other. I know a few of the Maitland FC girls are out seeing the Pickers in one of their last regular season games only the other week after, as the Pickers went forward and wrapped up the minor premiership in the Newcastle Rugby League women's competition. And we've talked about it before. We've got a few cross-code athletes as well getting around. Gemma Simon was playing a bit of rugby league. I think we had Addie Gallegos playing AFL. Melina Ayres even playing a bit of AFL, although I'm sure the Jets' new head coach will be probably nipping that in the bud very quickly after she re-signed with the Jets and is returning to Jets colours this season.
Yeah, that's right, I would say so. We do have a few, even in New Lambton team, a couple of AFL players, so I think it's great to see, you know, people being able to play, you know, a couple of different sports, really enjoying it, and women's sport in general is just really enjoyable to watch at the moment, and a lot of people are getting behind it, so it's great to see.
It's great to see. We've seen some big-name cross-code athletes. Sheridan Gallagher, one of the most recent. Go back a few years, we've seen the likes of Elise Perry playing for Sydney FC and Canberra, and also playing state and national cricket, and not one coming through the Jet system at the moment in terms of Kiva Bray as well, who was playing for the Sydney Sixers, probably would have been in the Jet squad this year in terms of goalkeeper depth as well, but was on contract and playing for the Sydney Sixers in the Big Bash, and doing so at like 15 or 16 years of age, which just makes me feel like I wasted my teen years.
It's just crazy to have someone with that much talent, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I'll take 10% of it. But anyway, I'll just stick to talking about sport. I'm battling on there, and thank goodness I've got you here to pick apart the X's and O's. And now a dangerous free kick for Maitland, and Ardovic and Stableford, the two Sophies over the ball. Two or three Sophies. There's Sophies everywhere at Maitland. And it'll be Stableford to take the strike. Will she go for goal? Will she try and loft it up? That pack suggests to me that she's probably going to try and drift it in, just into the shadows there, and challenge Janali Haynes. But no, they go wide, and Nenardovic then blazes across the crossbar. Not probably how it was drawn up, but...
Yeah, I'm sure she'd want to take that shot again. So if she had her chance.
I'm sure she'll get plenty more strikes here. She's not one that's shy when it comes to pulling the trigger if she gets half a look. This matchup, an interesting one, as we said. Lots of experience on both sides. Depth on the benches as well. Now they push forward here. It's a nice ball, but no runner chasing for the ball from McDonald.
And you do mention the benches today, Chris. They're going to be pretty important, because obviously if we go deep into the game and, you know, potentially get into extra time, the bench play is going to be really important. And looking at Maitland's bench, they've got a really strong bench. They've got, you know, a couple of people on there that have previously played for the Jets. So when you've got those types of people coming off your bench, you're probably in a very good spot.
Yeah, certainly do. They've got a nice blend of youth and experience on that bench. But again, you know, you talk about experience, and we've seen the impact Maddie Howard's had at different points this year. Couple of question marks, as I said. Don't want to cast too much doubt, but there are just, you know, that knee. We were watching it just before. There's quite a lot of tape on that. So, yeah, again, Maddie Howard even on 1.5 legs is going to be a dangerous proposition coming in against tired legs later in this game. Ball chipped forward nicely there from Gawthrop. Neal can't quite conjure across, but does earn a corner for her side. Nenardovic to deliver again from here. What can she aim for? Talia Gosner, prolific with the head when they get set pieces. She's dangerous in that box. She's such a presence in defences, I'm sure you know only too well, but she's dangerous too, just that bit of height and physicality that she can deliver here. She'll own the space around that penalty spot. Nenardovic, Lana Kearney shaping, is she to make a bit of a run at the back of the pack? Stableford presents for the short corner. Nenardovic raises the left arm, lofts it up, plenty of backspin on the ball, but beats the whole pack. She's overcooked it. Too many Weet-Bix this morning for Nenardovic, and Kearney puts it out for Gosner, but she can't quite get there, and it's pushed across the line for a throw by Olympic. Kearney wastes no time. It's headed to the top of the 18-yard box and taken away. Kelly Gawthrop gets some boots on it. Now they push wide here. Kearney tracking back, will shepherd it across the line. Beats Ava McGann to it. Wonderful seeing stories like young Ava McGann coming through the ranks at Olympic and, you know, making a starting debut only a couple of weeks ago. And scoring, as we said, last week, and just really owning her spot in the absence of Gemma House.
Yeah, and she is showing a lot of tenacity down this right-hand side. Obviously, a couple of through balls, a couple of counter-attacks that she's been able to get on the end of. So it'll be interesting what she can do today.
It's nothing like getting thrown right into the mix in the biggest of games. Got some wonderful young talent in this competition. Some pretty handy experienced ones as well. Like you said, lots of former A-League players. Plenty of current A-League players too, which is one of the blessings that we have in this competition, is that we get to see the likes of some of your teammates, the Libby Copus-Browns, the Cass Davis, obviously Melina Ayres we touched on before. Even, you know, we've seen Milan Hammond, Lara Gooch getting around in the competition this year. It's been wonderful.
Yeah, it has, and I think it's good that the girls are sort of coming back to the Newcastle competition, you know, in the past. And what still happens is a lot of players go to Sydney and want to get that, you know, all year round, high quality competition. And I think the girls staying here just helps this league, and obviously we're, you know, improving every year by having those players in this competition.
It's a real catch-22, isn't it, that as we see Morley battling forward here. Stapleford now. Morley again. I might come back to that conversation in a moment as Gawthorpe breaks wide. Calls for Will O'Neill to make a run. Feeds it out in front of her on the right. And it's just taken away by Danielle Nicol. But it's a catch-22, isn't it? Because if they don't come here, then the competition's never going to get better. But that's what they want it to do, so that they can come here. So it's great to see, you know, a number. We obviously know the likes of Cass has been sort of a fixture here for a long time. But seeing more and more of them, you know, the Libbies, these sorts of players, you know, certainly coming in. Lauren Allen, of course. How can I forget Lauren? But there's been, you know, a handful of them, and I think it's going to start to set a trend where we'll start to see more of that, hopefully. And, you know, maybe even, you know, some of those Mariners players who might live at the top end of the coast, or some of them are from Newcastle as well, start seeing some of those over the years to come. And it'll get to the point where you see 2 or 3 until such time that, you know, it's nipped in the bud and the A-League develops to where we need it to be a full-time professional competition, which, again, might be at the detriment here of the NPL, but I'd love to see as well. So I want my cake and I want to eat it too. I think that's what I'm trying to say here.
Yeah, and I think what's helped is obviously the A-League season getting longer every year, which makes the girls think, well, you know, I've only got sort of a 10-week period potentially where I'm not playing A-League or in pre-season, so I want to spend that time at home and I can play in a good competition in Newcastle, and I don't have to travel to Sydney, you know, 3 times a week to get that quality.
Yeah, the one switch we need to flick, because I know it's a bugbear for Cass at the moment, because she's an absolute glutton for punishment, is this professional, semi-professional transition, the 30-day window in between that they've got to have off. Because, yeah, I can imagine she would have been absolutely a nuisance at home for Zana, just in Zana's ear for those 30 days. Because I know when she was on commentary with me, she was certainly a little bit irate about it. She just wants to play more and more football. She's an absolute iron woman, though, Cass, in terms of that.
That's right, and she obviously loves New Lambton and wants to help out a team.
She does. Great to see her. It'll be great to see her back in Jets colours. I'm looking forward to seeing her hopefully playing against some of her teammates in the Northern New South Wales All-Stars versus the Jets. That's going to be a bit of fun. There's a pot shot there just over the bar. Bainsfair had Thornton nervous for a moment.
That was a decent chance there. Nearly caught the goalkeeper off guard. I think that's what the game's going to look like for Olympic today. You know, a lot of counter-attacks, a lot of, you know, little opportunities like that if they can get those, it can really change the game.
Yeah, certainly a momentum side, Olympic. Once they get going, they're hard to wind back, and sometimes it just takes something like that. A little bit of magic, a little bit of individual brilliance, a little bit of good fortune. As here's someone that can absolutely show some individual brilliance. Georgia Amos, she crosses it in. Well broken up at the front post by Georgia Hogg. Yeah, Sophie Nenadovich just does enough to caress it down with the left side of the chest. Thought about winding up there, did Maitland. Morley plays it off. Nenadovich back again. Goes wide, Lana Kearney. Not sure she quite knew how she turned that away from both defenders, but did well nonetheless. Morley feeds it in. Gawthorpe prods it on, but no Maitland jerseys there. Charlie O'Connor coming forward. She's manhandled by Sophie McDonald. There's some sort of quota for Sophie's you've got to have in an NPL team these days. We've got 5 of them on the team sheets today. McDonald and Walmsley in blue. Nenadovich, Stapleford, Jones in black and white. Maybe that's where you guys went wrong. You didn't have enough Sophies.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Maybe we've got a couple would be in this game.
Maybe Craig Atkins will bring a couple with him next year. Who knows? been exciting seeing some of the coaching announcements for next year. Starting to get livened up. Obviously, both the coaches that are here today won't be coaching their clubs next year.
Yeah, that's right. It'll be an interesting, I guess, time. Just, you know, players obviously transitioning to different teams, coaches moving around, and, you know, some players follow coaches, some, you know, might just swap for the sake of swapping, but it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Certainly will be. Here's one of those savies in McDonald, taking it down, plays it into Gosner, earns a corner. Yeah, obviously creates opportunities too for some of the young players that might have been biding their time in reserve grade, depending on who moves on. You know, you have a couple of key players, or you might have a couple of midfielders leave and a couple of other positions arrive, and all of a sudden there's an opportunity in the midfield then, which is then when we get to see that the next Ava McGanns and the like, and you know, really exciting. And that's the great thing about our NPL. We know now with the arrangement or the structure that Northern New South Wales have committed to, with expressions of interest, that we're going to have the 7 teams again next year, which is really exciting, and a bit of consistency. This is misdirected off the boot of Elodie Dagg.
Not the way you want your first corner to go, but
get it out of the system early. Get it out of the system early.
I mean, she scored one pretty much from the corner last week against Newcastle, so we know she's got it in her locker.
Yeah, Tara's just going, where was that one last week? Where was that one? Really looking forward to those games we were talking about before, seeing the best of the Northern New South Wales talent coming up against the Jets. Having had a foot in both camps, Tara, I'm sure you'll be intrigued to see how that plays out. Yeah,
well, I'll be watching from somewhere in Europe, but I think it'll be a pretty good game, because obviously from the NPL there's a lot of, you know, ex-Jets players, so it'll be pretty much like 2 Jets teams playing against each other, the old and retired, or you know, and the current.
I think some might take a bit of umbrage. The old and retired, the old or retired,
old
or retired.
Yeah, of course.
And that was a nice little humble brag from you, just, you know, dropping the European holiday in there. You must be getting paid better for commentary than I am. I tell you what, I'm going on holidays to like Muswellbrook or somewhere. That's my summer. Wonderful part of the world. Hopefully we're going out to Tamworth actually for the regional Super League finals. That's happening in October as well. So much football still to come. And then obviously we'll be into the Jet season, which is really exciting. And that double header on the weekend of the 20th and 21st of September, as we see a corner here. Nenadavic, 2 hands raised. Lofts this one up. Oh, driven hard at the front post. It spills. Not dealt with. Gorth drops it back here. And he takes a strike over the crossbar. Well watched by Haynes. Haynes will take the goal kick. Well, speaking of football as well, the Australia Cup continues on, and we've got the Jets in action today, the men's. And in stoppage time, they lead 3-2 against Avondale. Well, that's going to come down to the wire, that one. We saw Heidelberg go through yesterday, so the final will be down in Victoria. What a run Mark Milligan's taken this team on in his first time of asking. I think the Jets have been as far as maybe the quarterfinals once before, and now on the cusp of the final. And that game against the Northern New South Wales All-Stars will be their lead-in game to that, because it'll be the weekend before the final, I think. I think the final due for the end of September. Really exciting now. Add some more impetus to that game.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good run from obviously Heidelberg to make the final. A non-A-League team is just, I guess it just showcases how good football in Australia is at those, you know, levels just under the A-League, those NPL competitions. And it's great to see a team like that obviously make the final. Well,
the gap closing, I think, between the bottom of the A-League and the top of some of those NPL competitions are obviously the Sydney and or the New South Wales and Victorian ones are leading the charge there. But we'll get to see the measure of the best of the NPL teams too. With the Australian Championship coming over the back end of spring and summer as well. We'll see Broadmeadow Magic. I think they've got Moreton City, Sydney Olympic and South Melbourne. So I don't doubt that large portions of the Newcastle Greek community will get out and support Sydney Olympic and South Melbourne against their rivals in Broadmeadow Magic. So that'll be exciting to see, and they'll be great games, and they'll get to host all 3 of those sides at different points across the October to December run at Magic Park. So there'll be some great games. More football's never enough football, right?
That's right. And I'll make you even more jealous, Chris. The Champions League draw was drawn yesterday. It might line up with a game when I'm in Amsterdam. So
Yeah, right.
You know, Ajax and Inter Milan. We'll see. Anyone's happy to get me some tickets.
Just a couple of battling clubs. There's a couple of little battling clubs. You're putting Broadmeadow Magic and Moreton City Excelsior on the same page as them. I like that. I like that a lot. And we did see, you know, some A-League clubs defeat Wrexham in the off season. So anything's possible. So yeah, we're certainly loving this. More and more football. What was the other one that got announced the other day? The Oceania Pro League with South Melbourne in it, and then we've got teams from Fiji and maybe Vanuatu, a couple from New Zealand. There was some controversy around that. So I'm loving it. More and more football, more opportunities for players to play at the top level, and more opportunities with that Australian Championship to see the best players from our region get some chances. And Magic will represent this time around, and hopefully all of NPL kind of puts their rivalries aside and gets behind them, because I'm sure in years to come it'll be other teams that'll get their chance, like we've seen with Australia Cup runs with, you know, Cooks Hill and Western this year getting their first chances on that big stage. All we need now, Tara, is a Women's Australia Cup, and that's what's got to come next, surely.
That is right. That would be great. Fantastic for some of those Sydney teams, Melbourne teams, hopefully Newcastle teams.
I was going to say, I can see, you know. I'm not sure how that works for like the people like Cass and stuff though. You know, they're like cup tied and different things, but I'd love to see Tara Andrews winding it back and, you know, coming up against Canberra United, or, you know, maybe, you know, New Lantern Golden Eagles hosting at Alder Park the Wellington Phoenix or the Perth Glory. That'd be scenes.
Oh, one day, Chris, we'll get there.
Might need some investment from Newcastle Council and the lights a little bit, I think, if we're going to get up that centre. But you know, there's plenty of good venues. So yeah, next steps, little steps. We'll get there eventually. We are, you know, one of the leaders when it comes to our investment in women's football, but I'd like to see it accelerated for sure, because the breadth and depth of talent. I've had the joy of calling the New South Wales NPL as well with the emerging Jets. It looks like they probably won't be part of that competition next year, unfortunately. But, you know, over recent years, and that's a wonderful standard as well. And again, lots of current and former A-League players getting around in that, international players as well. Seeing some of the Victorian games as well. There's some really good standard there. And again, great to see more opportunities for that to be spotlighted, as well as some of those emerging teams like we see in the men's. Right here, right now, we've got two very strong teams going toe-to-toe. Nothing separating them through the opening 20 minutes. I've seen a couple of shots each way, but no one really pressuring or challenging just yet. Who can take the first chance? Who can fire the first shot? Will it be Olympic here pushing forward? What a run. Elodie Dagg lays it off. It goes wide, back into the box. Elodie Dagg, I thought she was going to go to the bicycle, then she tried it. Just couldn't quite rotate. Stableford tracking back. Walmsley v Stableford, Sophie v Sophie, and now it goes another into Nardovic. She goes down the line. Marianne Swang fights tooth and nail, and comes out second best. Georgia Hogg gets a boot in and breaks it up. Lana Kearney will take the throw. And Swing back to Kearney. McGann does well to break it up, holds the space and takes control. Kearney again with a throw, looking for Enswang. Falls in between King and Hogg, but Hogg takes it. Now Dagg lays it off for Hall. Hall with a bit of a probing forward run. That falls nicely for them. Put out from Bainsfair, but didn't quite find her target. Annabella Thornton goes long. Clears it. Clubbed back by Nickel. Enswing feeds it forward. Now Amos on a ranging run. Puts on the afterburners, gets into the box. Stableford can't quite get a touch on it. Can she? No. It trickles wide. I had Janali Haynes absolutely stranded, stuck in the mud, if you will. But a blemish avoided as it trickles across the face of goal. That feels like the first genuine chance for Maitland.
That's right, and I think that's how Maitland's probably, you know, potentially going to get a goal today. That's what they're going to keep trying to do. Obviously, down the right, down the left with Georgia and Sophie, and then, you know, playing off Marianne Swing in the middle, bounce off, forward runs, and then, you know, those probing balls in the box.
When they start looking dangerous, it's been a drought for them. It's over 200 minutes since they last scored now, Maitland. Going back to the penultimate round of the season. They need to unlock that, and here's one of the players that can certainly do that. Georgia Amos takes a shot from range, forces Haynes to get up on her toes and take it in front of her face. Haynes takes it out of the hands, drives it up towards halfway. A big long clearance. Bit of friendly fire there in the back of the head of Elodie Dagg, and now push forward. Ava McGann is on her bike, chasing down against Lana Kearney. Kearney's going to try and shepherd this across the line, and we'll have a goal kick.
And I wonder if that'll be playing on the minds of the Maitland team. Obviously, you said no goals in, 200 minutes? As a striker, that's, a fairly long time, and you start to feel a fair bit of pressure with not scoring. So hopefully this Maitland team, don't feel that pressure too much, and they can still sort of battle through and get a goal. But from an Olympic perspective, they've scored 9 goals in the last 2 games.
I was going to say, it'd be a while since you've gone 200 minutes without a goal. Was it 32 this year, Tara? Is that right? Are we still arguing about the one you got robbed, or did you get that credited back?
I don't know. I haven't checked.
Oh, I haven't checked. She's just lost count of them. She's got that many. Yeah, there you go. Must be nice. Must be nice.
Well, I thought 32. Yeah, that's enough.
32.
Yeah.
32 is a nice number.
Yeah.
Is that Magic Johnson? 32, I think, in the basketball. Anyway, back to the soccer. I was talking to someone the other day that's listened to a little bit of yours and my commentary together, Tara, and they said they find it entertaining the tangents we go off on. And I was thinking back and I was like, yeah, we do go off on some little tangents. It's nice. Not that we're not focused on what's happening out there.
That's right. It's always about the football, but
there's just so many things that are 2 degrees of separation from football, isn't there?
There is.
There we go, Mary-Ann Swing. Speaking of 2 degrees, only 1 degree, and 13 years ago she was at the Olympics. What a phenomenal story, and what a great get for Maitland this year, having South African international who played at the London Olympics here for them at Cook Square Park. I'm talking about all those wonderful A-League players, but that's a story in itself. Here's the Nardovic playing forward to Enswing. That's a real battle in itself, Enswing and Evans. Now, Gawthrop. Tell you what, there's plenty of niggle and nudge going on out there. Both these teams desperate to book that grand final ticket. It's been a 5-year drought since they won a comp. Newcastle Olympic, Maitland, never a grand final in the NPL. If they were to fall here today, it would be the 3rd time in 3 years they've fallen at the preliminary final. You say about things getting in people's heads, Tara. I wonder if that seeds there, especially for some of these girls that have been involved in more than one of those campaigns. Yeah,
look, and I'm sure they've been pretty confident this year, and leading into the finals, coming in second. I guess losing to Charlestown to not get the premiership might be on their mind as well. But I think for them today, they just want to make that grand final and see what they can do.
Yeah, it would be heartbreak. As we said, one of these sides, their season will be over. One of these coaches, their current stint at their current club will be over. You never know what happens in coaching, so I won't say that they're done at the club. But Joe Wright taking some time away. As we talked about before, Craig Atkins is heading over to New Lambton. That must have been a weird one for him last week. Knocking out his future club.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's fully invested in his current club, but I'm sure there was an eye and he's just like, yeah, okay. That's the club I'm coaching next year, and I've knocked them out. Well, that's right. What do I need to do next year?
That's right, yeah. The future club I'm going to coach at. But I guess from his perspective, he's obviously with Olympic now, focused on that, and next year he'll hopefully, make New Lambton better and make us get to the grand final.
Get 40 goals out of Tara Andrews. Get a few more out of Cass Davis, maybe. Sorry, Cass.
She told me last season how, I think because she scored like 20 goals last year.
Yeah.
She scored more than me, I think. So,
I'll tell you what, she found a goal scoring form in the A-League after, I think, was it last year? Not last season, just gone the season before. She got goal of the year.
Yep.
I'm sure that trophy's got pride of place in the household.
She doesn't just score simple goals in the A-League either. They're bangers. They're all bangers.
She's like a man who I had the pleasure of calling earlier today, Nikolai Topor-Stanley. He either scored like just little tap-in headers off set pieces. Opportunity here for Olympic, just well seen away. Will O'Neill shepherds it over the line. We'll have a corner. Yeah, Topor-Stanley either scores from halfway or just little bump headers in. Like there's no in-between for him. So anyway, look, at the end of the day, that's some people score lots, some people score absolute bangers,
That's right, yeah. The important ones, yeah.
Anyway, of course, if you didn't tune into that, it was Lambton Jaffers 2-0 over Western, extending their unbeaten run to 9 games to book their ticket to the grand final in the men's NPL preliminary final at Rockwell Automation Park earlier today. And in the reserve grade there, it was Newcastle Olympic, the minor premiers, knocked out of the competition by Cooks Hill. And Cooks Hill will play Maitland in the reserve grade grand final there. It's always a tough one when you're the minor premiers and then go out in straight sets. Full time down at Avondale. Avondale 2. We've got Tara literally hanging on every word. Newcastle Jets 4. They're through to the Australia Cup final, the Jets. Times. I'm going to have to try and book a ticket to Melbourne at some point. Stapleford. You're going to have to find a way to tune in from Europe.
For Newcastle supporters, it's probably quite exciting. I don't know how the Knights are going today. I'm not a rugby league fan, but...
Look, I wouldn't be looking. I wouldn't be looking if unless it was the Knights women that were playing, but I think they might have played yesterday. So, speaking of that, former Jet Sheridan Gallagher out there for the Knights women, of course. Now the ball played forward, looking for Ava McGann. Second ball gets there. Flag will stay down. And McGann track the ball in. She can. Can she get the cross delivered? That's a nice ball, but saving Nanadovic as she is so often is there when the pressure is on. Bainsford, nice header wide. Volley over the crossbar. That wasn't bad first touch.
And Dad can score those types of goals, so she just tried to pop it up for herself to get that volley. Probably didn't hit it as sweetly as she'd hoped, but she can definitely score goals like that.
Some players have just got, as we said, an innate ability from outside the area. A couple of your former teammates have scored some in the last couple of years. Cass is one of those. Gemma Simon scored one earlier in the year. I think we might have been on the game. We questioned when she was named in the front line, and she showed us.
She proved us wrong.
Yes. And then you get the likes of, a couple of her teammates, Melina Ayres, and I'm having a mental blank now. Their other striker, who will come to me in a moment, former defender turned striker.
Maddie
Galagos, thank you. Who have just been scoring them from everywhere this year. So, such a dangerous threat, the two of them, and the reason that Charlestown are where they are, although Melina not in action in the prelim final. I'm sorry, not the prelim final. This is the prelim final in the major semi-final. Hopefully be fit and healthy. I think it was precautionary. Nanadovic getting nice and physical there. 30 minutes gone. Who can break the drought here? Dag trying to sneak around. That was creative. Not quite what she wanted in terms of result, though. And now Newcastle Olympic. They're putting the pressure on. They've been down here for a little bit now, trying to apply the blowtorch. The team from Darling Street. And I tell you what about the opportunity? Not only if they get through the grand final, they'll get to play at home. Grand finals at Darling Street Oval next week. That's another little carrot. You'll take a grand final anywhere, but one at home is a little bit sweeter.
That's right. I'm sure if they do get through, they'll have a very big fan base that turn out at Darling Street Oval.
Especially after that, as I said, their men's reserve grade were in action today with a chance to book it, and they went out. So a lot of the hopes pinned on this side, making that run from fourth.
And that's all you got to do. You need to get in the top four, and then anything can happen. So obviously, I'm sure New Hampton, we had that hope, and so have Olympic.
Corner goes in. Thornton gets her hands to it. Cleared away by Morley at the back post. Evans working forward. Lofts it up into the box. A hit and hope. Bainsfield's chasing. Can't track it down before the byline, though.
It's a good little period from Olympic. Keeping the pressure on Maitland. A couple of little half chances. If they can keep this momentum going, they might be able to get something out of it.
Prodded backwards. Stapleford there. Takes it on. Tries to get to the outside. Cuts back to the inside. Of course, while we're talking results, Maitland's reserve grade team did book their ticket to the grand final earlier today in the reserve grade. They'll take on Olympic in that game, beating Charlestown, the rivals, 1-0 in the reserve grade fixture here. So it could be both grades in for one of these two sides. Charlie O'Connor now with his ball. Nanadovic. O'Connor again. It's all the way back to Gosner. She's going to go all the way back to Thornton. Pressing. Olympic.
Here we go, Evan again down the right-hand side. Crossing in, and Maitland winning the ball back. Maitland throw in. Balls with Josie Morley. And Sophie Nardovic with a shot from outside the box. Probably hope she got a little bit more on that one, just to the left-hand side of the goal. Olympic looking to go long off this goal kick. Charlie O'Connor. Got Sophie McDonald. Play the ball forward. Talia Gaza intercepts. And that's an Olympic throw in again. A little bit more pressure now from Olympic. Elodie Dagg back to Daniel Nicol. Has a shot. Gets blocked by Maitland. Outnumbered now, mate. And ball forward to Georgia Amos. Cleared by Denali Haynes. And a shot. Long shot from Marianne Swang. Just couldn't quite get the distance on that one. Looks like she got caught there with Laura Hall. Bit of a challenge there when Marianne Swing had that shot.
Thank you, Tara. Holding in the forward for a couple of minutes. We'll head to dash. Now we've got a stoppage. Perfect timing.
I tried. I really tried, but yeah, no. Look, we've got a bit of a stoppage now. Laura Hall looks to be hurt herself when she made that tackle against Marianne Swing. So it's a good chance for the teams to just get a quick little chat from the coach, have a drink, have a break, get some tactics, and then get back out there.
Yeah, certainly is. I'll take the chance to refresh some water. Instructions from the coaching staff. It's interesting to watch who leads the conversation in these huddles.
Yeah, we're in a very good vantage point here to see the Olympic huddle, and yeah, lots of little directions and tactics being giving out from both captains, senior players, and the coaching staff.
It certainly is. We're back. Everyone's back to their feet. Back underway. Almost 39 minutes gone. That'll add undoubtedly to some stoppage time, and this might be a bit of a wrist injury, is it?
Yeah, it looks like she is holding her arm a little awkwardly, a little gingerly.
Maybe just some studs in the hand. And some strapping on the wrist. That's a sign, obviously, that she'll continue on, which is positive. Going to start to creep across the full extent of Cook Square Park. Such a wonderful surface that they've managed to maintain this year, Maitland, despite all of the weather.
Yeah, I was saying earlier, it's probably one of the best fields in the Newcastle competition. I think, Edgeworth's obviously another field that's very good to play on. But yeah, through all this rain that we've had this season, disrupted season, this field's really held out very well.
And then they had the one game early in the season that had to be rescheduled because of the weather, but the back half where the amount of weeks where you see everyone else rescheduled or pushed to synthetic, and Cook Square Park continued on, and often when you see that the fields end up paying the price, but this looks magnificent. It looks like a carpet out there at the moment and playing like it as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a nice field to play on as well. It's quite a big field. There's a lot of, for Maitland to come here and play against Maitland, you always feel like there's just so much space, and they're just trying to play through and to try and press and defend against it. It is quite difficult. Another
Olympic player down on the ground. Try and idea who that is in a moment. Back on her feet though. Good to see. We might see players staying down or injuries picked up at any point, let alone early in the game. Opportunity here, McGann pushing hard and kind of trying to shepherd it, does well. Just shadows it across that line there and earns a goal kick for her team. As we head into the back stages of this first half, and we talked about it before, Tara, at what point does it start to play into the heads of Maitland? They haven't had too many chances that have really looked genuine to score in the opening half, and you start to get in your own head about not scoring, and that just self-perpetuates.
Yeah, that's right, and that's definitely a real thing that potentially would happen with this team with that long without scoring. It does start to play into the way you're playing, and then you try and do maybe things that you wouldn't normally because you're trying to get that goal. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. A few minutes left in this half, how Maitland come out in the second half, and they'll be trying to get a goal obviously as early as possible into the second half, and same with Olympic, because the rest of that half, if you got the momentum straight after half time, you're in a very good spot.
Certainly are. We know Maitland have built this season on their defence primarily, more so than maybe sides like yourselves at New Lambton or Charlestown. But again, they've got people. Mary Enswing's got 8 goals. Georgia Amos has 7. Sophie Stapleford has 5. Renee Pountney's got 4. They've got plenty of people who can score. And it might be interesting to see from that point of view when they introduce, you think at some point in the second half, Renee Pountney comes into this and, is she sent with a licence to go forward, or, do they just try and play cagey and try and use their experience and get to fatigue? And, they played 120 minutes last week. They're comfortable in that. They took Charlestown, who are a very attacking side, to 220 minutes and then penalties. But again, at what point do you then turn the focus from not losing to winning? Because that's the big key, and I can't imagine that Joe Wright wants to be going to the stress of penalties. I'll tell you what a way to finish your coaching career. 2 or 3 games in a row you go to penalties. That'd be enough to make anyone not want to coach for a while.
That's right, yeah. I think they definitely won't want to get to penalties again, because, probably the confidence of the last game and losing to penalties, they won't want to go there again. But I think for Maitland, defensively very solid team, so they're going to use that to their advantage, but at some point they're probably going to have to throw more numbers forward if they haven't got a goal, sort of 10 minutes into the second half. And once they do that, Olympic would potentially do the same, and it'll just start to open up gaps. And, a lot more time for the counter-attacks for both teams.
It'll certainly be interesting. It was a tough day last week at Lake Macquarie for Maitland. Both their first in-reserve grade went down in penalty shootouts. Unfortunately, neither game was elimination. And obviously, as we said, their reserve grades bounced back, and their first grade still well. A chance here with Sophie Stapleford on the ball. Sarah King just breaks up that attack. She stood strong. Stapleford couldn't quite control the ball. Now, Olympic look to go the other way. Ball put out in front of the opposite number 11. The other Sophie, but a little too heavy in McDonald, and Thornton meets it. It's been a weekend of football in Northern New South Wales. We saw the promotion relegation playoffs in the Northern League 1 grand finals yesterday at Magic Park. And again, the weather's been absolutely resplendent for it as Georgia Amos goes down the right. We'll come back to that tangent. Pushes the ball into the box. It spills. Sophie Stapleford got the wrong side of King. And it's not dealt with yet. Kelly Gawthrop, little leap in the air there. Almost leapt over Mary Enswing. And Olympic now head forward. Bainsfair. Can she find a ball from McGann? She's going wide. Kenny breaks it up though. Well done. Not completely dealt with. Bainsfair drops it back. Now pushed wide. Ava McGann with acres of space to work with. Forcing Charlie O'Connor to make a decision. Fed into the centre field, and along comes Keely Gawthrop to club it forward. Sarah King winning plenty of those battles with Sophie Stapleford, which is not something that many can claim on a day. Laura Hall now fighting tooth and nail for it. Now King lofts it forward. Looking for McDonald, but beats her. Falls for Dag. And now Gosner will take it away. As I was saying just before, Tara, we had the Northern League 1 reserve grade grand final that went to I think it took to about the 80th minute for a goal to be scored there, and Lake Macquarie won that 1-0, and then we had Valentine claiming their spot in the 2026 NPL, overpowering Westwall's End, and ended up running away with that 4-0, and then we've had the preliminary finals today in the men's, the reserve grade preliminary final here earlier, and grand finals next weekend. It's just a great time of year, and finally the weather's done us a favour the last couple of weekends, thank goodness.
I know, if only we could catch up, all those games at these sorts of times with this beautiful weather. I know some competitions have, been under threat of potentially not playing a full set of finals and just playing 1v2. So hopefully with this weather, all the competitions are able to sort of finish out their seasons.
Yeah, I know there's some sports where they've even had to, in recent weeks, push finals out, and, the Newcastle Hunter Rugby Union, their finals were set last week and they had to move them, and it was bizarre to think they ended up getting moved because of the rain we had during the week when you saw what the weather came out on Sunday especially. But that's just the way it works, unfortunately. We had some games at Lake Macquarie last week to make sure it worked out. And Maitland here. Nanadovic's going to take a strike from range. She almost cleared the back netting as well.
She did, yeah. Look, Soph's, she's got that in her locker as well, but it's a tough shot from there. She's pretty far out, and trying to hit that one first time, she got a lot on it. But I'm sure, to have that chance again, maybe take a touch and take the shot or play wide.
Ever the optimist, Sophie Nanadovic would have doubled her goal tally for the season had she nailed that one. Bainsfair. An aggressive sliding tackle. They've got plenty of ball from Gawthrop. Now they swing wide. Stapleford swings the point of attack back, looking for Georgia Ames. Bainsfair taking her time, getting back to her feet. Not looking great. Having trouble putting weight on that right ankle. And that will be half time. No real time wasted, not a lot of added time. And it's still 0-0, and it's been cagey. I think it's fair to say it's been a bit tense, and it's exactly what we probably expected in a knockout preliminary final from these two sides. Both sides have tried their hand at dictating the tempo. Olympic have looked dangerous going forwards a few times, but there's no breakthrough yet. But you feel with some of these players out there, one moment could just open this game wide open, Tara.
Yeah, I think the game's sort of hanging in the balance at the moment. I think, Maitland will have some good periods going forward, bouncing off Marianne's swing down the right-hand side. But
That's the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good. Oh yeah, that's the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good.
put me on.
How's it going?
A lot of work.
Yeah.
She's not a day sleeper. So it's, at least she's a night sleeper. But she's a prior to it. And I think it's tough, but...
We've got an island band, so I reckon for the first ball, we may just
exactly.
attract.
You start getting dizzy, like, oh,
Yeah.
God.
Amy will go gym, you're first.
Exactly. But I'm always like, I always try to take her outside.
Welcome back to Cook Square Park, the second half of the preliminary final for the NPL Women's Competition 2025, Northern New South Wales. It's all on the line, tied up at 0-0, Newcastle Olympic up against Maitland FC. Last time they clashed, it was 0-0 at half-time. Will we have a repeat? Maitland got the goal late. We'll wait and see what comes. Newcastle Olympic will be full of confidence after their win last week. Maitland will know they have what it takes to go the distance after having gone to extra time and penalties last week against the Premiers Charlestown Missouri. We shall see what comes next. Chris McPherson and Tara Andrews alongside me. And Tara, there was chances, there was some good midfield moments, but no one able to parry a shot or fire a shot on target and threaten the goal of the opposition in that first half.
Yeah, there was no clear-cut chances that you could say, you know, they maybe needed to finish off better. So there was some half chances from both teams, a little bit more controlled possession probably from Maitland, and some more counter-attacks from Olympic. So I think we'll see a bit more of the same in the second half, but I think both teams are going to have to take a little bit more of a chance in this second half, maybe push some more numbers forward, which might open up some gaps, but they may get rewarded with a goal.
Certainly will, and you feel that, you know, one goal might be all it takes to book a ticket to next Saturday's grand final against Charlestown Missouri. We know in the reserve grade it's going to be Olympic up against Maitland. So their reserve grade team will get a chance at a home grand final, Newcastle Olympic. And one of these two sides will have both grades in the grand final, which is a testament to how deep their clubs are this season.
That's right. It shows a lot of depth in those teams. Obviously, you know, there's some clubs where, you know, the first and reserve grade teams probably...
Certainly is. 45 minutes to maybe book a ticket to the grand final. Maybe we'll need longer. Time will tell as the sun sets here in East Maitland. Newcastle Olympic the first to press forward in the second half. And fighting tooth and nail. And here goes McDonald. Pushing forward, bouncing off players. George Ramus fighting tooth and nail. Gets the ball at her feet. Realises that the space is closing down. Lays it off for Will O'Neill. They've become a dangerous combination down this right flank for Maitland this season. Young Neil from the mid-north coast and George Ramus, a live wire winger. Now that's where they switch the point of attack to. Danielle Nickel straight away closes the space on her. Turns the ball, played out in front a little heavy, looking for Mary Enswang. Gawthrop gets a boot to it, and Nanardovic's there. Plays it back to Keely Gawthrop. It's a little clip, keeps on. Amos again, back to Gawthrop. Calls Neil to her. Decides to play it through the legs. George Amos now will try and work it around the body. Mary Enswang up against Evans. Mary Enswang and Evans all tangled. George Amos says, thanks for coming. I'll take the ball and head towards the 18-yard block. She crosses it in. Stableford gets first touch. She gets the second touch as well. Plays it back to Amos. She needs to find a target. Stableford on the deck. Enswang's in there. Was that handball? No, says the referee. Play on. And Janali Haynes ends up with the ball. Takes it on the volley. Sophie Stableford is either doing her best impersonation of a scarecrow, or she wasn't happy with that not being handball. I'm going to go with the second one.
I'm going to go with the second one, yeah. Look, it was maybe a half little touch with the hand or the arm, but it's really hard to tell, and doesn't look like it was, obviously wasn't on purpose.
No, it's always a hard one to, you know, the natural, unnatural position and all those things. I think, was it IFAB that make the rules? They made rules more confusing rather than simpler, but anyway. That gives us things to get to debate and discuss in commentary and get irate about in the crowd or at home when you're watching.
Yeah, and it was an interesting little battle on this right-hand side between Enswang and Jess Evans again. They've been at it all game, so it's going to be a really good one to watch for the rest of this game.
Really well officiated, though. Both of them holding onto each other, tangling each other up, and George Ramus, I was going to call her a peacemaker, but she just took advantage of the whole situation, so thanks for coming, and took the ball away. Talia Gosner now Plays it forward. Here's Amos again. Nickel does well to get a boot in and hold position. Speaking of people getting tangled up, those two are going toe-to-toe. Referee judges that Amos used the forearm in the back.
A little too keen to get the ball, I think, on that one.
Danielle Nickel now will have the opportunity from the foul. Georgia Amos still talking about it. I'm not sure who she's talking to. Maybe to herself, maybe to anyone that wants to listen. Never a dull moment. She's very entertaining to commentate on, Georgia Amos.
That's right. I'm sure that's fired her up, and we'll see her really get stuck in for the rest of this half.
I believe she was one of the key Maitland figures in voting for them to move their bench away from our live microphones. I'll let you work out the machinations of how and why. She's likes to wear her heart on her sleeve as Georgia. She's the character of the game. The ball now pushed wide, miscued, and there she is with the, I was going to say with the throw, but she'll leave it for Will O'Neill. Neal winds up, goes long, looking for end swing. Evans uses her knees to force it across the line. Amos goes quick. Nickel gets ahead to it. Now Walmsley coming forward. Neal takes it away, plays it in for the boots of end swing. Nickel, though, gets the deflection, plays it back across to a centre back. Hogg will work it forward. Finds the gap in the midfield and plays it out for Baines Fair before they have to drive it long. Hogg again. And it was headed back by O'Connor. Now, dispossessed Nenadovich, and away go Olympic, but Will O'Neill and Walmsley fighting, and I feel like it's every 60 seconds or so there's two players tangling with intent. McDonald now lobs it forward, and Baines Fair doesn't even feign interest in chasing.
Yeah, and I think no one wants to give this ball up easily. Obviously, they're battling for every single ball, and you know, if they can win that battle, it's always about the 1%ers, and that's what we talk about a lot in football. If you can win your 1% and win your battle against your opponent, you're a little bit ahead.
Certainly, it's only, as you said, it's a game of small margins as we get through almost 5 minutes here of the second half. Still no score in the preliminary final. Georgia Amos just outmuscles Danielle Nickel, who has a bit of a chuckle about the contact. Talia Gosner takes that away. Baines Fair collides with her. Gosner turns the ball away from the defender. Keeps marching forward, swings it wide. Hands it to the captain, who nice little touch to the outside, puts on the afterburners Stableford. Crosses it dangerously for Amos, just a step in front of her. Right idea, execution not far away.
Yeah, a little shimmy just then from Soph Stapleford on the left-hand side, and beat a defender and got enough space to obviously put that cross in. A little bit further back would have been nice for Georgia Amos just to come onto that one.
Just shows you can't sleep. I've got the ability to switch that ball so well, especially with that boot of Stableford. She can just, with not much wind-up, not much warning, just put it out in front, and if Georgia Amos has a step or two of space, she'll leave you absolutely clutching at straws. Speaking of that, the endeavour here to try and drive forward for Olympic. What can they conjure? Baines Fair prods it forward. I think that was a little more optimistic than intentional. Jess Evans sluices it wide to the left. Danielle Nickel gets her boot up to it and meets it. Will O'Neill can't quite get ahead to it. Gosner, I thought she was going to fire that into the back of Neal there at one point. Kelly Gawthrop turned it on. Morley under pressure, does well to hold her position and take the ball. Nenadovich now. 3 blue jerseys around her. She pushes it forward, and Hogg's there to meet it again. Here's Nenadovich again. Takes away from McGann, but he's dispossessed, and now McDonald pushes forward, and she equally is dispossessed, and Maitland working it forward. Has pushed out into space. Enswing's going to chase, gets around Hogg, puts the pressure on Nickel. Goes again, Mary Enswing, but it's going to just roll across the byline for a goal kick. Georgia Amos trying to convince anyone that has any influence that it might be a corner, but the referees get that one right. .52 minutes gone here. Plenty of time to play, but neither side really look like threatening the opposition goal. Georgia Amos now gets forward. Tries to play it into Enswing, but undercooks it. Hogg to Evans. Evans with time, lays it out in front of Laura Hall. She aims it for Walmsley, but despite her absolute best efforts and throwing almost everything at it, can't reel it in as she slides into the dirt strip that sits along the sideline here at Cook Square Park.
I think both teams are just trying to look to get a little bit of control in this game. It's been a little bit, balls are bouncing around, teams are pressing and winning the ball back, quite quickly.
Tangle between the two number 10s, Walmsley and Morley, and now McDonald pushing forward, and Nardovic tries to chase it down. Annabella Thornton just snatches that almost off the shoelaces of Kira Bainsfair racing through.
Olympic just won the ball back there and obviously played it forward. Maitland had defenders getting back, but she seemed to just be able to get around him and get that cross in, and those are the types of moments that can really change a game. And if Bainsfair got a touch to that, it would have been a different story.
Certainly would have. Sliding doors moment there, splits inches even, centimetres away from Olympic opening the scoring, but Annabella Thornton, as I said in the introduction, she's the reigning NPL goalkeeper of the year in the women's competition, and shot from range, and she gets down to that one, and we'll just take a moment to regain her breath after back-to-back efforts here. Time continues to tick away.
Both teams have had quite a few shots from distance. Obviously, struggling to maybe get too many chances closer to goal and break through. So they're having to have those, shots from a little bit further out.
AMS, nice little 1-2 with Neil. Nikolova committed now. Evans is going to have to work here. AMS gets to the outside. Can she find Ensweng? That's where she feeds it. Ensweng first touch, second touch. AMS pushing up. Evans is there again. The ever consistent, ever reliable Jess Evans comes to the fore. And Maitland, their goal drought continues. Gonna force the issue. Will O'Neill tries to feed it in, takes a deflection. Ensweng coming through. She almost chips it over the keeper. Evans can't clear it. They continue to try. Body sliding in everywhere. Danielle Nichols going to take it away from Georgia Amos and travel with it. And with that, we hit the 10-minute mark of this second half, and with that a milestone that Maitland won't want to know about. 4 hours without a goal. 240 minutes since they last scored. It was Sophie Stableford in the 85th minute of this corresponding fixture during the regular season, and that is certainly something that I'll tell you what, if the players out there knew it at the moment, that would weigh heavy on the mind.
That's right, and they had a couple of really good opportunities there, really close. I thought Marianne Sweng was going to get that one in, but she just couldn't quite get there. And that cross from Georgia Amos probably just bobbled up a little bit that she couldn't get control. So a couple of really good chances, but Maitland still scoreless.
Both sides scoreless at the moment. It's an interesting one. Maitland just turning the screws. The Olympic used up all their goals last week. So many questions. I won't keep making you reflect on it. I'm sorry, Tara. Sorry. I know Cass is tuned in at home, so she's probably feeling the salt in the wound. She'll be asking me to go away from the headset again like I did in the first half.
Look, someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. I had lots of questions during the week about my game, and that was pretty much my answer. Someone's got to lose. So
look, at the end of the day, one team can win the competition and 6 teams can't. That's the simple maths of it, and the numbers of it just don't stack up for everyone. Been a wonderful season for your team going back to the finals, which is obviously a big building block on what was the season before in 2024. That was, I guess, the first thing on the checklist for Aaron Stedman and your team, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, that's right. A couple of seasons for New Lambton, back to the basics and trying to build again. So for this season to make the finals was a really good achievement, and hopefully we'll just build on that.
Georgia Amos ends up on the turf, appealing, slapping the turf with frustration when she doesn't get the call. Emotions at an all-time high here. So much riding on this personally and at a team level for both of these sides and all 22 players out there and those on the bench. Speaking of the benches, when will we see one of these sides go to their players on the pine? Who will make the first move, and will that seize the impetus? Only time will tell. Sophie Nenardovic, she's taking a few shots from range. She plays this one forward. King breaks it up nicely. Chips it forward again, and Connor breaks that up. Nice tracking back there from Stapleford. Lays it for Nenadovich. Stapleford's going to put on the afterburns, try to get the outside. Hogg's got the head start and just drives it across the sideline, and it'll be a throw for Maitland. 18 yards from the byline, deep in attacking territory. Is this the time for them to break that drought? It might only take one today. Who's going to get that first blow? Maitland Territorial have the chance now. But Olympic going to try and see it off. They push it forward. Bodies collide there, and Nenadovich, some incidental contact, plays it forward in front of Enswing. King's tracking back, very reactive. Enswing sniffs about, looks for AMS, parries it across. Janelle Haynes, great save. Closed down that tight space. Enswing with power. Couldn't penetrate the goal though, and they'll have a corner now, Maitland. More promising for the Magpies, that was.
And Enswing just tucked in behind the defender there and kept that ball in, and that's a very tough angle to score from. She made a really good attempt, and obviously Janelle Haynes just parried that one out.
She's just so dangerous how quickly she can change directions and just nip in behind you. Her agility and acceleration off the mark is absolutely one of, well, she's got a number of assets, a number of strings to her bow, but that's one of her best. And all of a sudden you think she's to your left, and next thing she's in behind you and gone. We saw it there. Now they go short here. Morley back on the second effort. They cross it in towards the back post. Gosner's there. She gets the head to off the crossbar. Enswing with a follow-up. Evans off the line. And then it's come off the boots of a player, and it's going to be a goal kick. I think that reaction from Georgia Hogg exactly sums it up. She's in disbelief. She's in shock. How have they gotten away with that, Newcastle Olympic?
I mean, from here, it nearly looked like it went over the line, didn't it?
Certainly did. Our assistant referee was in perfect position, though. Stood calm, stood confident, stood strong. In the best position of all. And not a Maitland player objected, so it's always a good sign. Normally, even if it doesn't cross the line, you get some objection from the attacking team.
That's right, and very good desperation defending there from Olympic.
Again, Jess Evans has just come up clutch a number of times. Dozens of times undoubtedly this season, but a number of times today as Will O'Neill tracks back, and we find ourselves down at the other end with a throw for Olympic. Lots of people going into a lot of directions there. Our officials did really well with that goal line scramble, just watching it. Being across it. Maitland just turning up the temperature, turning up the tempo and pushing their opportunities. No score yet. Olympic now go forward. It's brought down Nickel towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Her opposite number in Gawthrop comes back, just pushes it back, and Annabella Thornton barrels out off the goal line and just takes it at her feet. Waits to draw in Sophie McDonald before picking it up and going long. Evans. Not quite sure that was the design she was looking for, but it'll work out okay. Haynes didn't get all of that on the first touch. Not sure what happened there. Kelly Gawthrop was on the ground, and then Walmsley tripped over her. It was like one of those schoolyard pranks.
That is exactly what I thought of when I saw that. Someone's crouched down behind you, mate, and you push them backwards. Didn't
need any nudge, though. Walmsley just didn't see her there, and I think Gawthrop was trying to get back to her feet, which made it even more comical. Anyway, all's well that ends well. And now it'll be a free kick, and Danielle Nickel will take it. She'll drive it long, looking to find a friendly face. Nearly found Talia Gosner's face then. There's Walmsley. No, that was Ava McGann, sorry, in the box, throwing her body into it. Good pressure there. As Nenadovich tried to clear it long. Maitland will get the throw in. Will O'Neill will take it. Georgia Amos the first option to present. That's where they go, but Nickel takes it. Gawthrop gets a boot, but Nickel retrieves it. A Hall again. Feeds it into the box. McDonald was there, gets a touch on it, but the Maitland defence stands strong. Evans and Enswing both jump for the header, but both miss. Now Maitland going forward through the experience of Morley. Wide for Stapleford. Nice touch back inside. Second touch wasn't as strong as she might like, but she does win out eventually. Gets it out wide. The ball trickles on. Tracked down inside the sideline by Gawthrop. Turns Ava McGann inside out. McGann comes again. Tries to play it out to the advantage of Enswing, but Haynes comes off a line and takes it again. It's end-to-end football at the moment. Both benches warming up. 62 and a bit minutes gone. You feel it won't be long before we see one of the coaches throw some fresh troops into the fray.
Yeah, I think it's about time, about that time now where you'd bring on some fresh legs. People are starting to get tired. You need someone to break this game open, and that could be definitely someone on the bench.
Interesting to see what tactics the coaches go with. Do they throw on the attacking threat to try and break it open, or throw on someone a bit more defensively minded to try and shut it down? Georgia Amos, nice touch, beats one. Burns past Hall, plays it out to Enswing, but Enswing, I'll tell you what, she looks like she's running out of puff, Mary Enswing, at the moment. Not great if you're a Maitland fan. Will O'Neill's down there. Draws Danielle Nicol into pushing it across the line, and I'll take the throw, Maitland. But Mary Enswing looked like she just didn't have any go in her right there. Here's someone who always have go in them is Georgia Amos. Beats one, beats two, tries to push away into the box and do it all herself, Georgia Amos. But another throw. Lots of players looking like they're running out of gas. There's still a long way to go in this one.
Yeah, and look, Olympic have been doing a lot of defending, so, they're going to have some tired legs out there. Maitland seem to be getting on top in this last 5 minutes and having a few more opportunities, getting down this right-hand side, the left-hand side with Stableford. So I'm sure Olympic will want to bring on some fresh legs to help them in the midfield or potentially at the back.
Neil with the throw. Off the head of Gawthrop. Amos is there in the pocket looking for Enswing. Pokes it forward. Evans gets ahead to it, but it falls friendly. Takes a strike. Does Enswing to the back post. And Sarah King did really well there just to cover that lane. Sophie Stableford was racing through a rate of knots, and if she had got it, you feel she only needed the slightest of touches, and she would have had Janali Haynes beat at that back post. To no discredit of the keeper, but Sarah King wasn't the prettiest piece of defensive work, but it certainly was very effective. All the natural light gone. We're under floodlights here as we look for the last 25 minutes of this fixture. I'm going to start seeing players getting ready to go. Might be Maddie Howard, the first one thrown into the fray. Makes sense, plenty of experience coming in. In the meantime, McDonald takes on Amos. Amos gets a boot in. What a story to be if Maddie Howard became the one to unlock this. A former Maitland player up against her old club, now in Olympic colours. Now, I'm not sure if that was a shot or a through ball. Either way, it didn't work out quite the way Dag intended. Maitland break it up and they continue on. Now they get it out in front. Lana Kearney racing down the right side. Plays it into Enswing. Enswing on her own, waiting for runners to come. Josie Morley too quick for the pass. Now tracks back across. Kelly Gawthrop takes it, but Walmsley ends up with it. They go wide to the right here. Baines Fair out there as the fog starts to settle here and takes a strike just wide of the goals. I thought at first she'd beaten the keeper, as did I think Craig Atkins.
Yeah, look, that was one where Maitland have sent their left full back surging forward to try and get numbers forward. Olympic have won it back and then counter attack down that right hand side. And from this angle, it did look like she beat the keeper, and it was nearly going in, but obviously just wide of the goal.
The deadlock remains. 66 minutes gone. Still plenty of time, but it feels more and more like we might be heading to extra time here. A late Sunday evening decider for a grand final ticket. Of course, watching the Northern New South Wales Football's YouTube channel live and free. All of your NPL men's and women's action. First and reserve grade all season has been coming to you live and free. We had all the big games and some more big games to come next weekend. The grand finals from Darling Street. Saturday, the NPL women's. Charles Sanazuri to take on the winner of this game. And then on Sunday, the NPL men's as the premiers. Broadmeadow Magic will take on Lambton Jaffers. All of a sudden here, Sophie Walmsley takes on Talia Gosner, prods it into the box for McDonald. She can't control it though. Gosner takes it away. Maitland will try and go on the counter here. They push it forward. Again, who's there? Jess Evans to break it up. She has been outstanding for Newcastle Olympic so far today.
And some really big gaps opening up now for both teams to attack. The midfield's just getting really spread. Obviously, a bit of tired legs. People trying to go forward.
Opportunity here. Janelle Haynes racing back, does well. It's interesting, isn't it, as you say, tired legs, people just not reacting quite the same, missteps, players pushing forward a little bit harder because they know they need to score, but you need to score means you open up to a counter-attack. It's risk versus reward, it's fatigue. It's just who's got that little bit extra in them. Maybe who did those little extra bits in pre-season all that way back in January pre-season was this year. We started in early February. At the Charity Shield, Tara, there at Jack McLaughlin Oval, you and I were calling the 7th of February. We've been going for nearly 7 months. What a season it's been. We've seen everything. We've seen rain. We've seen games called off for heat. We've seen hail a couple of weeks ago in the men's competition. And now we've got beautiful sunshine. Well, not quite sunshine now. The sun's set, although there's some, I think it's some smoke coming in, not fog. It's about all we haven't had is touch wood and some bushfires. But anyway, maybe a plague of locusts, although there's plenty of bugs about too. And a little foul there from the Nardovic, and we'll go back, and Newcastle Olympic will take the free kick. And we will see that change. Ava McGann will make way for Maddie Howard. Youth replaced with experience. Now what impact can Howard have? Same experience. Maddie Howard's still not all that old, really, but it feels like she's been plying a trade for a while in this competition. She's just so reliable when she gets out there, and her impact's been strong this year for Olympic. And then again, compared to young Ava McGann, nearly everyone seems experienced in just her third game, but third start, I should say, for Olympic this year. She's been a key part of their reserve grade charge as well earlier in the year, and certainly the efforts she's put in are going to leave some questions for when Gemma House does return. Depending on the result today, that might be a question for a very different coach.
That's right. I'm sure Olympic are hoping that they can get through just so she can play one more game, obviously, this season. And, you know, who doesn't want to get to a grand final? So I think, you know, Maddie Howard coming on, great left foot. She can really change a game. If she gets an opportunity in front of goal, I'm sure she'll take it.
Haynes drives it low. There's Howard, gets a first touch. Probably not the first touch she's looking for, but she'll be happy to have that one in the bank at least. First thing you want to do as you get on as a substitute is just get a touch, get a feel.
That's right, yeah, get rid of the nerves. That first run, that first touch you take.
It's interesting, she wasn't even doing a whole lot of running, I think, just protecting that knee. She was down here in the tracksuit and then got the tap on the shoulder and the tracksuit came off. She was ready to go, and speaking of ready to go, McDonald sneaking in behind here. Gosner doing everything to work and does well to win out. Walmsley pushes it forward. Howard now. And Will O'Neill just wins out. You can feel the crowd, the voice just dying a little. They know the tension. It's all just there. Just balanced precipitously. Physical challenge there. Nenardovic comes away with it. More often than not, if she goes into a physical challenge, she'll come out on top, and she goes marching downfield. Bounces off Laura Hall. She's been in the wars today, has Hall. Great season returning after having a baby in the off-season. You see her little one just down to our right here, just taking it all in, wearing mum's number 6. We have a corner here for Maitland. Two players at the corner, Nenardovic and Stapleford there for the short option. Means Howard's dragged out. We've got a cluster of players. A little wall here. Everyone patting Talia Gosner on the back. I think that might be code for this is all on you, Talia. She's the towering presence there. As they split, Amos comes to the front post. Gosner sneaks to the back, gets the header to it, brings it down. Gawthrop, that looked like it might have been handball. The referee says no, play on. Physical challenge for O'Connor. We keep going. Let the girls play, they say. Nenardovic up against McDonald. McDonald, last touch, yes. Maitland throw.
And when we see those sorts of things happen, it fires everyone up. And then we see, you know, Will O'Neill come in really hard and just fires everyone up. And it's good to watch.
It is. It's about controlling emotion, though. Any of those players already carrying yellow cards from the final series. The last thing you want to do is pick up a second one here and miss next week. Nenadavic feeds that through. She found the gap all right, all the way down to the Coxie's corner side. Time ticking down. 73 gone. Here at Cook Square Park, the preliminary final. Deadlock yet to be broken, 0-0. Maitland FC. Their run at the premiership came down to the last game. They were beaten late by Azuri for the premiership. Now, they sit here with a chance to make history and go through to their first grand final, but they're going to need to find that net at some point. Whether it's now in regulation time, whether it's in extra time, or maybe it'll be in penalty shootouts. They went to a penalty shootout in the qualifying final last week. Olympic scored goals for fun in the elimination final. Neither of them can find goals so far today. Georgia Amos thinks about taking the throw. Gives it off to Will O'Neill. They continue on. Only 260 minutes without a goal for Maitland. When will the drought break? Could they foreseeably get all the way through extra time, tied at 0-0 and head to a grand final? Actually, my maths hasn't even allowed for that. It's actually 290 minutes because they played extra time last week.
They've been close on a couple of occasions today. I'm sure they would have loved a bit of luck for one of those to go in.
Bainsfair puts it forward. Gosner, McDonald. Did Gosner get the last touch? She didn't. Thornton did. Yeah, so we're ticking up towards 5 hours, Tara, without a goal in regular play. Obviously, penalties in the penalty shootout, but that is a huge amount of time without finding the back of the net for Maitland.
And when you have a little bit of luck on your side, a little bit of momentum, when those opportunities happen and, you know, they nearly go in.
Opportunity here, unmarked at the penalty spot, was Georgia Hogg, but Maitland see it away. Now, Howard crossed it in, Thornton out to it. That was a rocket from Matty Howard. Georgia Amos is going to have to be under pressure here from Nickel. As you're saying, it's one of those things, isn't it? It's like winning's a habit, losing's a habit. The bounce of the ball can sometimes, you know, be a little bit of a habit. You know, they say the harder you work, the luckier you get. Not to say that Maitland aren't working hard, but sometimes luck just comes in runs and, you know, you're a bit more confident and you almost will the ball into bouncing your way. You just expect it will. Now, what have we got there? A handball. Okay. Sophie Nenadavic seems puzzled, tries to say it was a shoulder. The referee was right on top of it, so I'm going to lean with him.
The referee's been pretty decent today. Obviously let a lot of the plays go and those good battles, you know, shoulder to shoulder, a few grabs here and there, but it's been pretty even for the most part, I'd say.
I think, and it was something we were talking about during the men's preliminary final earlier, the referees this season have been really good. And we see this curl towards the top corner, a little bit too high. Really good in where both players are going at each other and giving as good as they're getting, just letting them play. You could find fouls in almost everything that goes on in our game, wherever there's a battle. But they just allow it to play out, allow it to continue on. And where there's not, you know, some, you know, heinous disadvantage or heinous foul. I mean, we did see one of those at the end of the men's game today. The referee was not hesitant in reaching to his pocket and his left pocket where he had the red card sword, not the right where he had the yellow, and dealing with that. So I think the referees have been really good so far this season. Of course, it's such a crucial element of our game, and we're lucky in Northern New South Wales to have such a good crop of them. Now, here we go, Georgia Amos pushing up. Laura Hall prods it back. Former club captain gives it back to the keeper in Haynes. Now Danielle Nickel. Georgia Hogg. Jess Evans. Sitting back in almost a sweeper role there, and she's often prone to do. Hall again to Nickel. Looks like it's just settled again for a few moments the game. Everyone just trying to take their breath before we go helter-skelter for the last 10 minutes or so here. George Ramus, nice little one-on-one beat. Hogg, though, gets a foot into it. Not sure what George Ramus is appealing for there, but we're going to see Maitland go to their bench, and Keely Gorthrop will make way. And someone who we know can score a goal, and a screamer of a goal will come on. Paige Kingston Hogg. Can she unlock this Maitland attack as they creep up towards that 5-hour scoreless mark? It's only going to take one, you feel, Tara. But weirdly enough, one goal sometimes in games like this can bring a flurry.
That's right, yeah, I think it's been a very tight game. So, you know, potentially if there's one, there's more, but it's been a tight game. So I wouldn't be surprised if this ends in, you know, 1-1 if we don't go to extra time.
If it ends at 1-1, I think we will go to extra time, Tara. I think that's how it works.
So
Sorry, I couldn't help myself. But yes, I know what you mean.
1-0, yeah.
That's all right. Another handball. They're coming thick and fast. There's an awkward bounce there for Elodie Dag. And Sophie Nenadovich straight up to the spot. This is a dangerous area. Yeah, 25 out from goal. Maybe a little less. 25 yards it'll be, so I'll let you do the maths. You're the engineer. So your calculator's all right?
Yeah, that's right.
Calculators and programs.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, let's work it out. It's 22.5 metres.
There you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you should be an engineer.
I've got a maths degree, so it helps.
Well, you're probably better than me at maths then.
You'd think so, but anyway, we won't talk about, you know, whether intellect brings degrees. That's a whole debate for another day.
The distance, though, looks like a very good distance for shooting range.
It's a shooting range distance. There we go. We'll break it down for everyone else. What was that about tangents before? Anyway, Sophie Nenadovich, Sophie Stableford. Who will it be? A wall of three. Janali Haynes on her toes. Stableford takes a strike. It takes a deflection off the wall and sits up nicely, and a friendly bounce up for Haynes. Takes it at shoulder level.
I generally take the free kicks in Newland, and then as Sophie just did then, it hits the wall. You know, you don't get it over the wall. It's a terrible feeling that you've got this one opportunity to take, and you know you just don't hit it quite right or as sweet as you really want to.
That's some real Eminem vibes from what you're saying there. You know, one opportunity, everything you ever wanted.
Only got one shot.
Yeah, exactly. Feels very appropriate right now. It's all on the line. Don't get nervous, no mum's spaghetti, none of that. Let's just find a goal. Opportunity here for Maitland. Mary Enswing throws herself forward at it. There's Kingston Hogg. She's dispossessed on a first opportunity. Pushing forward. Newcastle Olympic. McDonald forces the defender to push it across the line, and the throw will come inside the last 10 minutes of regulation time here at Cook Square Park. NPL preliminary final. All tied up 0-0. Olympic and Maitland. Maitland finished season second on the ladder. Olympic in fourth. Could Olympic take the dream run and make it through to the grand final? Will it be Maitland into their first grand final? Another handball. They're coming thick and fast now. They
are. There was a couple of shouts for the handball in the box. None of them got called, and now we've had three.
Yeah. It just feels interesting. Like no real urgency from either side at the moment. It's gone back to that cagey opening that we had. Interested to know what's going on in the minds of the two men pulling the strings here. I say pulling the strings. There's only so much they can do from the sideline, Atkins and Wright.
I'm sure they wish they had a little bit more control of what was happening on the field, but you've got to leave it up to your plays when it gets to these moments, and a little bit of direction, but it's all with the plays.
I wonder if and when we'll see the injection of Renee Pountney. That's the question for mine. The offside flag goes up against Kira Bainsfair. You see a few people just sort of almost leisurely warming up on.
I think just waiting for the call up, waiting till Joe says, yep, you're up.
Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of nervous energy, but you don't want to use up too much energy. It's a very fine line.
That's right. We had the conversations last week where, didn't want to think about the game too much during the day. You don't want to visualise too much because you might use your energy on thinking, what might not happen. That's right. Play it in your head before you get there.
Yeah, I was always good for one of those, overthinking it. Getting there. Fortunately, I'm just a ball of non-stop energy, so either that or caffeine, one of the two. I'm not sure where the mix falls at most days. As we go forward now, little jersey pull from Gosner, then a chop as well. That's made it nice and easy for the referee. If you're going to let go of the first one here, have the second one. Matty Howard into the box, takes a strike across the face, misses the target. Wasn't far away though.
Craig Atkins.
I'd love to have a heart rate monitor on Craig Atkins at the moment. I think it'd be showing 200 plus. Oh, he looks like he's out of breath and he hasn't moved more than about 4 steps. Oh, who'd be a coach? Who would be a coach?
Oh, Matty Howard just snapped at that one a little bit to the right-hand side.
Oh, dear. I felt my heart rate going up and I'm sitting on the fence here. Ball pushed wide for Maitland. Time ticking down. 6.5 minutes of regulation time remaining. Craig Atkins waves to the 4th official. They'll go to their bench again here, Olympic. Kingston Hogg pushed it out in front of Morley. What a story she's been. Did her ACL early in the year. Thought the season was over. Managed to come back, and she's been a key part of the run home for Maitland. Georgia Amos in for Marianne Swing. Nice little 1-2. And surprise, Tara, who's there to break it up again? Who else would you expect? Jess Evans.
That's right.
She's a rock at the back for them. Now it's going to be Montana Quick coming on. Will O'Neill's going to quickly get on with the throw to push the advantage here. And Swing and Evans resume their rivalries. Evans does well to get it wide, and then Nickel drives it into the back of Amos. So it might be Walmsley, I'm assuming, who's going to come off. Craig Atkins doing everything. And he's even carrying players off. Look at him go. Montana Quick injected into the action. What can she do? Interestingly, looks like she's slotted back into a defensive midfield maybe, and just trying to maybe take it to extra time. Here's Craig Atkins. As I said, it's interesting to see what those moves are and how they play out.
Yeah, would Olympic be happy to get to extra time and get to penalties? Don't know. I don't think Maitland would be, but maybe Olympic thinks that could be their only chance.
Might have a little bit more gas in the legs, maybe. Another player hobbling now, Danielle Nickel. I think she might have just copped some studs on the top of the foot. She's back on though. Into the box here. Morley can't get the touch away, and now Elodie Dagg. Maitland's got plenty of numbers forward. Can Olympic capitalise? They're tracking back hard. Sophie Stover racing to shut down that lane down the right wing and forces Olympic back infield. Bainsfair plays it wide. Hall's there, tracking onto it. To the substituting Quick. Out muscles and Swing. Evans slice it off the outside of the right. I'm not quite sure that's the design she was looking for, but she'll be happy to clear it over halfway for the time being. You cut the air with a knife here at Cook Square Park. Almost silence completely falling over the field. Inside the last 4 minutes of regulation time, it's ticking down. You say, if not now, when? If someone's going to take the impetus in regulation time.
Yeah, and I think at this point, you're trying to take chances, but you're also trying to be really careful because you don't want to give anything away. As a defender, you don't want to dive in. You don't want to get caught on the ball.
Chipped forward now. Opportunity, is it for Maitland? Danielle Nickel drives it into the car park. Almost takes out some spectators in the front row. Occupational hazard of sitting front row here at Cook Square Park, where the playing field goes almost all the way to the fence. It's such a massive surface, as you said, Tara. I'm getting picked up on my my commentary licence that I'm taking by some of the Newcastle Olympic staff. Pushed across the line by Maitland. The big question, and here with $1 million answer, is that man down there at halfway with the board. How long will we have once we get to the 90th minute of stoppage time? 87 gone. Time ticking down here in the preliminary final. Just as it did in the qualifying final last week. No score. And another player with a bit of a knock here. Newcastle Olympic in the wars.
Yeah, and there hasn't been too many stoppages. A couple little, I guess, players that have gone down to just pause the game. But I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of added time.
No, looks like it might have been a head knock. Charlie O'Connor, I think, holding her head as well. And we're going to get back underway. Just trying to work out, is that McDonald and O'Connor that came together? Good news is they're obviously all okay, and we continue on. Bainsfair gets her head to it. There they reunite, O'Connor and McDonald. O'Connor drives it off the outside of the left into the car park. Maitland tracking lots of numbers back here, just trying to block it all. N-swing the sole attacker forward at the moment. Deflection falls for Morley. Drives it forward, looking to the advantage of N-swing. Hogg back sweeping. Pushes it forward. And across the sideline. Maitland now. The numbers of both sides roll back into the other half. It's like watching an under-10s game.
That's right. Who's going to take this game? Who's going to take that shot?
The other thing is, though, you don't want to exhaust your legs now if you've got another 30 minutes. McDonald racing forward. She finds some space, but she's muscled off the ball by Sophie Nenadovich. The two number 8s have been immense for their side today, Nenadovich and Evans. There's Nenadovich making a lung-busting run down. Hall takes it away. It's returned, though, by Nenadovich. She takes a strike from distance, hits the crossbar. She couldn't have been any closer. Oh, my word. We made light of her pot shots before, but here they go again. Mary N-swing gets it on the head, and it pops up for Janali Haynes. My word. 30 seconds of regulation time comes, and Maitland come as close as anyone has to breaking the deadlock. Sophie Nenadovich found the underside of the crossbar. Will O'Neill shepherds this one across the line.
Maitland will be kicking themselves.
Georgia Hogg given a yellow card. Craig Atkins calls for Carr. I think the board might have just gone up and I've missed it, Tara. Don't know how many minutes of added time we'll have, because I've missed it with all the brouhaha that was ongoing there.
That's right. Too much action. Couldn't take our eyes off it.
All right, we'll wait for the referee's whistle now. Coaching staff of Olympic urging their team on. It looked like they were ready to just park things back. And a cluster in midfield. Who can break free of the pack and conjure something? King brings it down. N-swing takes it away. Stableford quick pushing her. Now they look for N-swing, but too wide from Stableford. I thought for a moment that they might have had another play down there, then I realised that was the ball girl over there, out wide. That's how well I'm going.
I'm sure they would have loved another player on the field at the moment, but a couple of opportunities there for Maitland. They'd be kicking themselves not to get one of those in, and really unlucky with hitting the crossbar now a couple of times.
Olympic just chewing up the clock, a little bit of gamesmanship or overtake. Man, it's everywhere. Mr. Grant Sproul comes and updates us. 4 minutes of added time. Thank you, Sprowley. Helping out commentators, taking photos. Being amongst everything. He's been everywhere this weekend. He's at the promotion relegation yesterday, getting all the shots as Valentine secured their spot in NPL for 2026. He's out at Western earlier today too for the men's NPL. They had that cracker of a clash. And this one, equally as exciting as Danielle Nickel takes a bit of a nudge. I won't call it a strike, but it was a nudge forward.
Intentions are higher. Everyone's yelling, get forward. Let's try and get something out of this game now.
2 minutes gone of stoppage time. You said it before, Tara, you've got to be so cautious. You want to throw caution to the wind, but you don't want to be caught on the counter. And here they go, Maitland. Can they find something? 5 and a bit hours since they last scored in open play. It was Sophie Stapleford late against Olympic. Could she be the magic tonic again? She comes away from this one. Tooth and nail fighting, both of them, and the free kick goes Maitland's way. Unsurprisingly, the Newcastle Olympic staff feel hard done by there. That was a throw in the end. It wasn't a free kick. The ball had gone over the sideline. I thought they'd called a free kick. It's been the challenge on the ground. No foul, the call from the Olympic bench. Time ticking down. Over 2.5 gone now. Gosner drives forward, looking for Neal. Howard gets a header on it. Nickel. Amos plays it out for Neal. Can she get the cross in? Not many targets in the box, just Ensweng. Amos is going to nab on this just inside the 18-yard box. Ensweng gets the turn. Can she get a strike? Middle of the crossbar again. The woodwork for the third time today. Saves Newcastle Olympics bacon. I'll tell you what, you said about extra players out there. Kingston Hogg pushing forward. The woodwork's been like an extra player for Olympic. Spills out Amos. Hogg pushes it forward. It is an absolute scramble here. McDonald pushes forward. I'll tell you what, Craig Atkins, you talk about wanting to take plays. He might want to take the crossbar from the northern end here. Or the southern end here, sorry, at Cook Square Park with him to Newlambton next year.
That's right. I think I'd be feel pretty hard done by if I was Maitland at the moment. So close, and if they had a little bit of luck on their side, might hit the inside, the bottom side of the...
Millimetres of difference. I thought Ensweng had done it. I thought she was going to bring the crowd at Cook Square Park to their feet. But instead, it was just heart and mouth stuff for both sides. And that is it. That is the end of regulation time. And for the second time in 2 weeks for the Maitland Football Club, no goals scored in their 90 minutes. They are now 5 and a bit hours without a goal in regulation time. They go to extra time now. Will it extend another 30 minutes? Will we go to penalties? All we know is there is a grand final spot on the line for these two sides. They're going to be battling tooth and nail for this. Olympic yet to score in this one. They found plenty last week. Can they find one? Will that be all it takes? Maitland, can they break their 5 and a bit hour drought? Time will tell. We're going to take a moment just to catch our breath, try and compose, try and bring our heart rates down to a reasonable level. And we'll rejoin you very shortly with extra time.
Oh yeah, that's the feeling. Progress. Momentum. Getting somewhere. That's what it feels like when you bank with Newcastle Permanent. With local experts and award-winning customer service. We're here for you, and we're here for good.
Look, I think for Maitland, they need to keep doing what they're doing. They've had a few opportunities now where, you know, obviously they've hit the crossbar and been really unlucky not to probably nag a goal. The game's really opened up sort of late in that second half. So I think they need to keep doing what they're doing. Olympic are holding on, and I think the Olympic are going to, you know, if they want to score, they're going to get a counter-attack. They're going to try and catch Maitland out and see if they can push a couple plays forward and take that risk to get a goal.
I'm sure if you're Maitland, as we watch this attack, Stableford, she's got Amos wide here if she can find her. Going to go herself and turn them inside out. Ball spits free. And Jess Evans is there again. You can't focus on, we talked about that luck and how it becomes self-fulfilling. You can't focus on how unlucky you've been, because that's when you start to get the negative thought. Negative thought drags things away. I'm sure that was part of the message from Joe Wright, is we're so close, like, it's bound to happen at some point.
That's right, and I think that's generally the words of most teams when you're sort of struggling to score. It'll come. You need to keep doing the basics, keep, you know, putting the ball forward, doing what you normally do, you know, putting the ball wide, getting crosses in, dribbling at people, and it'll come.
Throw in here for Maitland. It's a little off-putting because they're going that way again, Maitland, in the first half. Extra time, obviously a toss to decide that. Would have been interesting to know who won that toss and whether Maitland said, no, we'll keep going there. We're going to find the underside of that crossbar soon. That's
right. Well, I think they've probably had the better of the opportunities down this end, although, you know, they have hit the crossbar. I think they've had more clear-cut chances, so they're probably feeling a bit more luck going this way, and hopefully, as you say, one of those balls will tip the inside or the underside of the crossbar and go in.
Of course, interesting to see too what comes from the benches. Still some key players on both sides, players that have both either experienced or formed crucial parts of their campaigns to this point.
Yeah, and obviously Renee Pountney's still on the bench at this point. I think, you know, Maitland probably would have been holding on to see what was happening towards the end of that 90 minutes, and then, you know, we've got fresh legs from her to come on in this 30-minute period that might be able to make a difference.
Even the experience of Sophie Jones could become key at a point here, depending on how Joe Wright might want to deploy her. And should he get the penalties again? You're going to start thinking about that as you get into the second half here. A little nudge there. I was about to say play on. Just a late whistle.
Yeah, clipped her there. Referee called it a little bit late. Everyone thought it nearly was play on, but...
keeping us on tenterhooks like I did with you with that Jets score earlier. Still can't believe that. Look at that. The Jets into the Australia Cup final. And if they win that, not only will they win the Australia Cup, Tara, they'll get to play continental football in 26-27. It's a long time away, I know, but that's just the way it works.
Continental football, so what sort of teams do they play?
Asian Champions League Elite 2. So I think some of the teams at the moment, like we've got J-League and K-League teams. That's like Nagoya Grampus might be in it this year, I think, from memory.
Mm-hmm.
So the second tier of Asian Champions League, sort of think Europa League for those more familiar with the broader game. But, you know, I remember all those years ago when a baby-faced Joel and Ryan Griffiths were part of that team that got to play some Asian Champions League football after that. I think it was after we won the grand final in 2008. I remember being on the hill and enjoying those games. I actually think one of the Griffiths boys might have been playing for one of those Chinese teams at the time, and they came back here. Maybe Adam was playing for them. I always get them all tangled up. I know two of the boys went over to China. Joel was one of them at one point. But I remember that being a key talking point in the lead up to that. So that'll be great to see back at McDonald Jones. And look, Mark Milligan's reign started positively. Hopefully, and his name escapes me, our new women's Jets coach has a similar impact.
Yeah, let's hope Steve Hoyle, does the same thing with the women's team. I think, it's looking up for Newcastle football at the moment, and I think, seeing this and how the men's team's going at the moment, it's giving us a lot of confidence, and I'm sure a lot of Jets fans are quite hopeful now for how this season will go, and obviously looking towards the women's, we want them to go the same way.
I've seen some key signings, and a lot of change of players. Obviously, seeing Melina Ayres coming back into the squad is something that I know a lot of fans and local football players are excited about. We know when Melina was last in the team alongside Serena Bolden. Obviously, it was the last time the Jets made the finals. It was interesting to see one of the Jets' Kiwi players over the Kiwi coach departing and going to Melbourne City, Devon Jackson.
That's right. I mean, look, it's tough, right? When Melbourne City come and knock on your door, it's hard to say no, right? One of the most professional, or if not the most professional football club in Australia.
Well, I mean, they got through to was at the final of the Speaking Continental Football. So, an opportunity for those sorts of things. It's hard to say no. Put yourself in the shop front window. As Sophie Stafford, speaking of the Jets, a former Jet herself, goes forward. Air swing for Amos. Strike, take it again, the crossbar. My goodness, you would not read about it. Paige Kingston-Hock finds the top of it this time.
I thought that was a sure goal.
I want to get back through the security footage here at Cook Square Park and see who from Craig Atkinson's coaching staff has been out here putting extra layers of paint on that crossbar in the lead up to this game.
And if it wasn't a home game at Maitland, you think there would be some tampering?
I was going to say, if this was the other way around, people would be asking questions if it was the home team getting all the favours. We'll try and suss this out after the game about who Craig Atkins had up here last night under lights painting the crossbar extra layers. Doesn't matter how you come by saves, they all count the same. George Amos just goes across the line. I will give credit to Craig and his team. They are right in front of us here, and we're having a bit of fun. I'm enjoying their reactions to a few of our lines, so I suppose it's one of those things, if you don't laugh, you probably cry at this point.
That's right. I feel like if you're Olympic at the moment, there's a lot of luck with you. So, you'd probably ride that wave and think, you know what, we're hopefully going to get through this one.
And to be fair, there was a lot of people outside of Newcastle Olympic that would have written Newcastle Olympic off last week. They were doing the same again this week. And here we are, well into this game, almost 100 minutes of football, and they've managed to hold out a side that only a fortnight ago was, minutes away from, claiming a premiership. So it's hats off to them. They've timed their run, and as you said before, it's about getting to that Final Four and then timing your run, and they're well within this clash at the moment. Yes, the crossbar has saved them 4 times between the second half and this little opening of extra time. But as you said, ride the luck, take what comes your way. There's plenty of times it doesn't go with you, so enjoy it while it does.
That's right. And Olympic have, they've got a lot of experience in their team. They're a team that work really hard, and defensively they're desperate, right? So they're not letting those little chances, albeit get those crossbar opportunities. They're not giving away many of those opportunities to Maitland to take. So working really hard, and with that hard work, maybe they'll get something out of this.
Well, they push forward now. Is this the time for the ladies in blue to take on the team otherwise known as the Blues, Channel Centre Zuri, next week? All on the line. A grand final ticket up for grabs. Who wants it more? Who can take it? A strike from range. Thornton backtracking, gets her heels to the line and just grabs that, moves it on quickly, wasting no time to set the counter-attack forward. Will O'Neill putting on the afterburners. Maddie Howard chasing her down. George Ramus out in front, trying to burn past Danielle Nickel. Cuts back, feeds it in, end swings there. Back to goal though. Lays it off for Neil. Will she cross it into the box? Yes, she will. Looking for the back post. Just past Morley was the right idea. But as has been the story of Maitland's day, just a touch too far.
Yeah, and I think, Morley was a little hesitant to make the run to start with, and she didn't start that run until after it would have been kicked. So if she took that chance, took that risk, she might have been a little bit of a better position.
It's all the games of the mental edges, the mental pieces, the thought, the overthink, the underthink, and everywhere in between. I think at the moment you've got to kind of, with the level of fatigue that a lot of these players are feeling, you always got to switch the brain off and let the muscle memory do it. It's why you put in all those hard yards going way back to probably November, December, January for a lot of these players. A long season as well. So that when you get to this point, this moment of the season, and I'm sure that's what you're telling yourself, I'm sure it's what you're still telling yourself when you get into another pre-season, of this might come in handy in August or September.
That's right. They do always say when you keep running laps at training that this is the hard work, so it's easy in game. So
doesn't look easy at the moment. I'll tell you what, it doesn't look easy. They are absolutely throwing everything at it. Doesn't even look easy for these men and women on the sideline.
I know, a lot of stress.
And now Nickel scuffs the clearance. It's going to be a corner.
Had a conversation with someone today about football and the emotion of football, and it's so great that people get into it and, they want to win and, and angry that I lose. But the beauty is you get to come back next week or next year and you get to play again.
Yeah, just explain that to some of the, the players that are getting up to having fours in front of their name, and they might tell you where to go. Not that there's many of those in the women's competition. A couple in the men's competition. Nikolai Topor-Stanley, I'm looking at you. Ben Kennedy, you've still got a 3-year okay. And, hey, they're going to the grand final next week, so well done to those boys. As Tara's cracked it and decided that she's going to kick a water bottle. She's had enough. So I'm talking about old people, and she's got defensive of some of her former Jets club mates. Oh, it spills just wide, Georgia Amos. I'm not quite sure that was by design, but she kind of just threw herself at the ball.
Another close range shot.
Helpful statistician coming and collecting your water bottle for you, Tara. Yeah, Maitland just keep pushing. They're inching closer. You feel that if they can create enough of those opportunities, law of averages says something has to find its way into the back of the net, but Janali Haynes has been good. Jess Evans has been good. Their defensive unit has been good, and Lady Luck's been good for them as well. I think it's fair to say. Danielle Nickel pushes this forward. Now they go wide. Maddie Howard drives it out. Broken up by O'Connor. Now Enswing's dropped back a little deeper this time. Nice little touches. Beat one. Couldn't beat the second. Plays it wide. Amos, she's been busy. She's been involved in plenty so far today. Morley plays it out to Nardovic. She takes a strike from range. Awkward bounce, but well taken. I thought Haynes was going to try and come at that and it was really going to skim up awkwardly, but she decided to pull back a step.
Yeah, look, we're both into mathematics and probability, so you would think that with all the opportunities Maitland have, they are bound to get one. But we're playing football and anything can happen. And
it's the law of averages, right? And, you talk about statistics, it's like, you go to the casino and you bet red or black. Just because there's been 10 reds, the next one's still 50-50.
That's right.
Over the time, yes, it will average out, but each individual instance is the same chance. So, anyway, we've probably lost everyone at that point. So, either that or someone's on their way to Star City. I'm due. Maitland will be thinking that. They'll be thinking they aren't due. But in the meantime, Newcastle Olympic, no, it'll only take one chance for them as well. And drop back to Jess Evans. Into the final 3 or so minutes of the first half of stoppage time, and here comes that change you've been wanting and asking when it would come. Renee Pountney ready to go at the sideline just before half-time in extra time here. Will O'Neill gets to the outside of Jess Evans. Evans pushes it, does well to make sure it goes across the sideline and not the byline. And here comes the change. Who will it be making way? It will be Georgia Amos. That's a little surprising for mine. She looks like she's been the busiest and probably one of the more dangerous players in recent moments.
Yeah, that's right. But, I mean, if you're going to bring on Renee Pountney, you've got either Georgia Amos, Soph Stapleford or Mary Enswing to take off up the top. So, star-sided lineup there up the top.
I did think earlier it might have been Mary Enswing, but she seems to have found a second wind. It's almost like she heard me saying that she was just timing her run. We talked about it before. Newcastle Olympic are trying to time their run and go from fourth to a grand final. And what about you? We talked about it before. There's a number of Charles Senazuri people here as Mary Enswing goes into the box here. Pushed back across the sideline, and it has come off Maitland last. And so Olympic will take the throw. Number of Missouri people here. Do you think they have a preference? I mean, I'm sure they're happy with just these two just taking it absolutely out of each other, forcing each other absolutely empty their tanks. But do you think they have a preference in terms of how they might match up better? Obviously, they've got a really good record against both these teams this year, but as we've seen today, a regular season record doesn't count for much.
That's right. I'm not sure if they'd have a preference. I think both of these teams, obviously on their day, just like today, can give it to any team. So, for them, the last couple of games against Maitland, they've obviously got up. So maybe that could be a little confidence thing where if they're going to play Maitland, they think, yep, you can get them third on the trot.
Beaten Maitland, yeah, as you're saying, a couple of big games. But haven't had a blemish against Olympic recently either, so it's an interesting one. Dangerous ball into the box here, not dealt with. Enswing gets the header. Stapleford offside, so wouldn't have been able to get involved as much as she really had to resist all the urges. Haynes now clears it long. Into the last minute of the first half of extra time. I know people will be sick of me quoting these numbers, but we're now 315 minutes, not counting all the stoppage time. So realistically, when you add them together, it's probably 330 minutes, probably talking 5.5 hours. So, yeah, that's a wild time for Maitland, but they've been inching closer and closer. They've found almost every part of the crossbar so far today, since that sun has set here at Cook Square. It's hard to believe that we started this game in full sunshine, and now we are well under lights, and we've still got at least 15 minutes more of time. Opportunity here. Strike taken. Haynes gets a boot to it. Does she? No. Found the outside of the post and beat Haynes. What a run there. And that will be half-time of extra time, and still they are yet to be separated. Maitland have done everything they can, turned all the screws, had most of the territory, most of the possession in this first half of extra time. But it still remains 0-0, Tara. Newcastle Olympic are hanging on for grim death. And we know all it could take is just one break against. But for Maitland, we talked about it before, they're feeling surely at some point Lady Luck's got to shine on them.
That's right. And I thought Renee Poutney then had come on, gave them a little bit of a spark and, you know, gone down the byline and just couldn't get that quite. You know, the angle's tough, but thought she might have been the spark that they needed. And I'm sure they're feeling it now. They just want that ball to go in the net. Get that goal and then make them feel a lot more relaxed. But obviously all the momentum at the moment is with Maitland, so Olympic will just be looking for a break, see if they can get something in a counter-attack.
Crazy to think that Maitland last Saturday played 120 minutes of football. Again on a Sunday. Another 120 minutes of football. 9 days, 240 minutes of football in the tank. You just wonder when they get to next week, does it steal their resolve or does it sap their reserves? But the question is, can they get there? There's still 15 minutes to go, and Olympic will be very confident of their chances. They've held them out for 105 minutes. They know it'll only take one chance. And all the action for the last 40 minutes has been down this southern end of Cook Square Park. So Olympic, can they come and find it and come? Imagine the scenes if they found the underside of the crossbar. Then there'd be an investigation. That would be asking questions.
I'm sure Craig Atkinson's gone and peel off the paint now just to make that crossbar smaller.
Yeah, send someone down there with a file quickly before the second half of extra time gets underway. As you say, there'd be so many accusations and questions if it was at Darling Street.
And I'm glad we're not sitting in front of the Maitland bench because the amount of times you've mentioned how many minutes they haven't scored.
I think Joe Wright might have come and had the cords. He might have had the cable back around my neck. I'll tell you what, if we're down there now, I reckon with Georgia Amos on the bench, I might have copped the spray. Oh, dear. Anyway, Maitland, another chance here. Another set piece. Going to be Stapleford to take it, is it? Nenadovic's coming down. 1 Sophie, 2 Sophie, 3 Sophie more. Sophie Jones, will she come into the fray? We'll wait and see. Nenadovic's waved away. With the left boot of Stapleford to curl it across the face. Comes down, spills across, end swing on it. Calling back for it is Nenadavic. End swing's going to try and do it all herself. Pushed it across the face. You just see a number of teammates who thought they were in better spots calling for it. Frustrated. Emotions at a high.
That's right, but when you've got a striker like Marianne Swing, she needs to take those opportunities.
Certainly does. It's got to be a positive sign for Maitland. There's lots of players wanting to put their hand up to take those strikes. They talk about it when it comes to the championship minutes. Who wants the ball? And there was 5 or 6 of the Maitland players and plenty of experienced ones wanting to put their hand up there. We had Nenadavic, Stapleford, Kingston, Hogg all calling for it, but Enswing took it all on her own shoulders. They continue to push and charge Maitland. Nice work there, Stapleford playing it off the legs of King. Enswing trying to get to the outside of Hogg. Stapleford plays it through. Opportunity in the box now. Enswing. Oh, just couldn't get enough on it, and Haynes picks it up off her outside. My word. They couldn't get any closer, Maitland. They had no shots on target at the start of the second half. How many they must have now? I feel like it's almost in double digits. They've come so close yet so far. Here they go again. Jess Evans again up to the mark. Throw in. Being pushed back. Neal goes back to take it. Goes long with the throw. Enswing charging forward. Traps it inside the byline. Feeds it through two players. Takes them both on. She's going to try and earn the corner. She crosses it into the box. Beats everyone. Stapleford was there sniffing about. Now Morley chasing it down. It's a foot race. Is that Montana quick on the ball now? Lived up to the surname, certainly. Bainsfair under pressure. Taken away. Renee Pountney. Sophie Stapleford takes a shot. Little toe. Enswing. Finds the net. Mary Enswing. It had to come. And eventually the dam bursts. The pressure continues. Annabelle Thornton streaming 100 metres down to celebrate with her team. Maitland take the lead in the preliminary final. 108 minutes gone, but plenty of time to come. And that is exactly the message that is being barked out from the Newcastle Olympic bench. My goodness, I thought it had never happened. The 5.5-hour drought is over.
And the relief these players would be feeling right now from Maitland to get that ball in the back of the net.
Well, job not done yet. Step one, act one done.
That's right.
Olympic will make a change. Emily Hinkson is going to go into the fray. Who will come off? We're going all out attack now, Olympic. They've got nothing to lose. We'll wait and see. Hinkson's found herself on the goal scorer sheet already this season once. Now Bainsfair chips it in and straight away going forward here. I'm not sure. So appeals there coming from Newcastle. I'm not quite sure what they were asking for. Just hoping. Mary Enswing, though, managed to get her 9th goal of the season. She's been a great signing. Could she make it 10? Plays it into the box. Stapleford returns it looking for Enswing. Pushes it too wide, though. Now it's crossed into the box again. Enswing's there. Throws herself at it. Stapleford's going to try and take the volley. Quick takes it off her and pushes it forward. Lana Kearney's there. Kingston Hogg working hard. Taking the space that's offered. Plays it out now. Pountney playing it back. Nenadovich. 10 minutes to go here. Maitland trying to hold on to this 1-goal lead they've just seized.
That's right. You can see a little bit of energy, a little bit more energy from Enswing now that she's scored, you know, as a striker, as any player. And once you get that first goal, you just have a little bit of a spring in your step.
Certainly do. A little bit of confidence, and now here comes that change. It'll be Hingston. Kira Bainsfair makes way. A solid stint of 110-plus minutes for Kira Bainsfair. Now Hingston. What can she do? Maitland, though, pushing forward. They want to double their lead and ice this ticket to the grand final. Again, Jess Evans just prods it away from goal. Laura Hall drives it towards the sideline, trying to get it out of danger. They've gone from hanging on and trying to drive themselves to penalties to now needing a goal, Olympic. Craig Atkins is waving them forward. He's talking to the substitute, Emily Hinkson, saying, don't get drawn back there. Push forward. We need numbers forward if we turn the ball. Easy to get drawn in. Ball driven in along the turf. Well done. And a strong game, Janali Haynes. She's been busy. And here we see another change coming for Maitland.
Yeah, I think Serena Carter's coming on defender for Maitland. Obviously, they're trying to just hold this 1-0 lead and just tighten up the back. And, you know, potentially might go to 5 at the back.
I would suggest so. Who will they take off? Josie Morley. Huge stint from her considering everything that happened earlier in the year. It's great to see her back out there, but as you say, Carter will come in. She'll play in defence.
Looks like she might just sit in that sort of defensive midfield role to another defensive-minded player to try and...
Almost looks like they're going to play a pair of defensive mids. Hernan and Ardovic. Kingston Hogg will push up. So I'll have two defensive mids and a more attacking mid. Kenny beaten by Hingston. Brought down by Quick. Nice ball in for McDonald. Just a little overhit, and Ardovic's there. He's happy to take time. It's a funny one, though, for Maitland, isn't it? You can't go too defensive and you can't chew up too much time, because if Olympic do late then grab one against the run of play, all of a sudden you found trying to scramble to get one back before extra time. And as we said, sometimes one goal can bring another. So
yeah, that's right. I think, you know, in these times, teams start to play different. They start to maybe not play out. They just kick it long because they want to get the ball out. But then they start to not play like they normally do, which puts a lot more pressure on them. And sometimes it's not a better way to go.
No, you go away from your natural game, go away from what you've been instructed. Your teammates don't know what to expect. All of a sudden it becomes unpredictable, unstructured. Opportunity here. Thornton down to it. Well done. I'll tell you what, we've made note plenty of the goal drought for Maitland, but when you have a look at it, you've got to also remember that going all the way back to since the 18th of July, Annabelle Thornton's only had one goal put past her in regulation time. So you put that in perspective, that's even longer.
Wow. That is very impressive and exactly what you want from your goalkeeper. And obviously this team defensively is very good. Defensive block, very structured and hard to break down.
They certainly are. Just 11 goals against them throughout all of the league season and finals so far. So when you do the maths, I think it works out to... This will be 20 games for them, 2 of them having gone to extra time. So it's basically 21 fixtures of games. So they're conceding a goal on average every second game. And a big part of that goes obviously to their defence, but also to Annabelle Thornton. And it's a big part of why a player with the ability of Serena Carter is sitting on the bench, because of how strong their defence is. And a good person for them to have to be able to call on and bring her into action here today. And they're trying to close this one out. Just over 5 minutes of time remaining. Will O'Neill doing it all down the right edge. Lays off for Pountney. Pushing forward Maitland. They'd love to get a second here and just ice this. Goes into the box. Mary Ann swing back to goal. Gets the turn. Has an air swing though. Nearly had a swing at Montana Quick, but thought better of it. Emily Hingston coming forward. McDonald was about to erupt at the referee, but the advantage was played and they came back. And now another change. Sophie Stableford coming off. Just putting his players on ice. Sienna Frost comes on. Again, though, an interesting choice, because if Olympic do grab one against the run of play, surely Stableford to be one of the first people you want to taking a penalty.
That's right, but as you said before, she did have a boot on during the week, so... I mean, it doesn't look like she's been too impaired this game.
Like I said, maybe it was just fancy dress. Who knows with Sophie Stableford? Hands put together, she'll take her time. She's looking a little ginger there. But Sienna Frost has been a key part of this team, so great to see her getting minutes in the lead up to the potential grand final appearance. Olympic getting ready to deploy another attack as well. Keela Baldry ready to go. Started in a couple of the match of the rounds that we've called earlier in the season. And Olympic take a strike there, but a whistle had already gone. Ball comes out for Annabella Thornton. They're going to 3 at the back, I think is the call. And see a change here. Baldry to come for Georgia Hogg. She's been gritty for them. So, what's going to fall on the shoulders of Jess Evans here defensively. Baldry will go to the top line, you would think, and maybe 4 at the front, is it? Will be. McDonald and Baldry centrally. Hingston and Howard wide. Maybe a 3-4. There's a structure you don't hear every day.
Yeah, I think at this point Olympic need to throw numbers forward, so it's really their only option. Just go man on man at the back, 3v3, and then just try and push as many numbers forward. And, you know, probably not going to get these front 3 or 4 to drop back too much, because you want them to stay high and win that ball when it does come.
Send it is the call. Baldry's there, tries to get a touch on it, does get a glance. McDonald turning it back inside. Howard pushing forward. McDonald gets to it again. Racing back and pushed across the line for a throw-in. And we saw it in the men's preliminary final earlier today when it was 1-0 deep in time and then 2-0. And their goalkeeper was going forward for set pieces. How many numbers will Newcastle Olympic drive forward and a chance to level this? King brings it down to ground. Tries to turn it away against Frost. She gets a boot to it. Quick there. She plays it forward. Hingston crosses it into the box, does she? She does, but seen away initially. Hingston's going to get it back. Got Montana quick inside. Decides to take it on down the line. Looking for the throw. Everyone's clustered at the box. McDonald has to come across. Now Quick brings it down. Chips it forward. And Nardovic gets ahead to it. Headed on again by Pountney and then Enswang. Now driven forward. Baldry tries to get on it. Deflections left, right and centre. Everyone's just hitting and hoping at the moment. Maitland hitting and hoping for clearances. Olympic hitting and hoping to find one of their teammates going forward. That's a good win out for Keela Baldry, but then she turns it over. And it's not something I thought I'd say. Turns it over to her opposite, number 35, in Mary Enswang. And all of a sudden now Maitland go on the attack. Renee Pountney pushing forward into the last 2 minutes of extra time here. Cleared forward. And they've got to send everything after this. Throw it all at it. Even the kitchen sink Olympic. But in the meantime, Maitland charging down. You can see them. They're all edging towards the sideline. They're an absolute tenterhooks, Maitland, looking to book their ticket into their first ever NPL Women's Grand Final. Olympic still wanting to have that final say, wanting to push it to penalties if they can. And he's absolutely still alive here. They're pinned deep in their defensive end. And pressure. Olympic looking to go long. Kingston with it. Pushes it forward. Laura Hall. Pushed down the line. Probably could have been reeled in there by Baldry, but Serena Carter's happy to see it across the line. Now settling into that back five. Now thrown in towards the box. Pushed across the line again by Maitland. Time ticking down. Into the last minute here. And then we'll be at the referee's discretion. I'm just waiting to see the added time. Not sure where to look. I want to watch the action and keep bringing it to you, but we also want to try and get the update this time. McDonald plays it in. Taken away now. Santa Frost will just try and chew it up. No, can't control it. King drives it forward. Kingston Hogg brings it to ground. Turns Baldry inside out. He's going to set Pountney free down the right. Is she? No. Nickel takes it away, but Neal comes. They push forward Maitland.
Willow Neal doesn't look like she's played 120 minutes of football. She's been powering down that right-hand side, covering across the other side.
She just glides across the turf, though. It's like she doesn't even leave an imprint. She just so easy across the surface. And again, because we're so entrenched and entranced by the game, we've missed the extra time, but our wonderful camera operator Mike's all over it. He's given us 2 minutes of extra time. I was going to say, we lost Sprowley. He's gone to actually do his job and take photos. Thank goodness we've got all these people to help us, Tara. Who would think you could get too focused on a game as a commentator? Wonderful team we have here in the NPL and have done all year. Our camera operators, all the other support staff from Northern, and even some of the wonderful people with little tidbits like Mr. Grant Sproul.
I'm sure he's out there ready to capture the end of this game for whichever team.
He's getting down by that Maitland bench, just ready, just in case. I just want to see Olympic make a run now, so we see Sprowley have to sprint down there and try and capture the goal. He does a great job of capturing everything, Sprowley. He's the, again, some of the photographs that not just Sprowley, but some of the other photographers catch around this competition just encapsulate some of the great moments we've seen this year. And are we going to see another one here, or is time ticked off for Newcastle Olympic? Matty Howard drives forward. Sophie Nenardovic gets ahead to it. Maitland hanging on for dear life. Olympic know their season's on the line here. Montana Quick drives it forward, looking for Keela Baldry. Up against Talia Gosner. Gosner forced it over the byline, and we're going to have a corner here. Janali Haynes is being pushed forward. Sarah King being pushed forward. No, maybe Janali Haynes will stay. Oh, we had a whistle there. I'm not sure what that was for. I
think the Maitland player was a little bit too close.
Just calling them away. What can we have here? Lofted up dangerously towards the penalty spot. Montana quick gets a boot to it, a scramble at the goal mouth, and it's seen away for Maitland. You feel that might have been the last chance saloon for the Olympic. Collision. I didn't think there was that much in it from Nickel. She just put her body on the line, and the referee brings out the yellow card, and you have to think that that might be it. Maitland will take their time here. Cannot be too long left. We're already more than 2 minutes into stoppage time, but we've had some stoppages in stoppage time, in extra time, and now we've got Laura Hall, the hands bandaged now, she's hopping. I don't think they've got any changes left, so they're just going to finish with 10 here, our Olympic, and it's been gritty. They've dug deep, but Maitland, their pure volume of chances has made pay. Here goes Mary Ann Swain looking for another one. She beats Danielle Nickel. Looking for someone to feed a ball to. There's no one in the box. Sienna Frost decides to have a crack. Why not? Time ticking down. And the referee says that will do us here. And the Magpies have flown into history. Maitland FC are off to their first ever women's NPL Grand Final. And after falling short in previous seasons, Joe Rightside have delivered by the barest of margins when it mattered most today, finally finding their scoring touch and holding their nerve when it counted. They'll now face Charlestown Azuri next weekend for the title. Tara, Maitland were questioned about their ability to convert chances today, and they led us to question it even further. But how impressed were you by the way they just continued to push forward until they found that breakthrough tonight?
Yeah, that's right. They kept going and they just tried to keep it simple and still keep that confidence that a goal was going to come. So, tonight I think they were the stronger team, had more opportunities. I thought Olympic might have been able to get one on the counter-attack, but Maitland were just too strong tonight, and obviously now going against Charlestown in the grand final.
They certainly will be. Maitland, 2 grades in the grand final, first in reserves. They'll take on Newcastle Olympic in the reserve grade. But I think hats off to Newcastle Olympic. What an effort they put in across 120 minutes. It was the barest of margins, as we said. But Maitland, I think, fair to say, deserving winners. The 2 best sides during our regular season will now face off in the grand final next Saturday at Darling Street. I can't wait for that on Saturday. And of course, you can catch the men's and women's NPL grand finals live and free on the Northern New South Wales Football YouTube channel, both first and reserve grade. Next Saturday and Sunday, the women's Saturday, the men's Sunday. Can't wait to bring it all to you. A big thank you for tuning in tonight. On behalf of myself and Tara Andrews, signing out and wishing you a very good evening.